sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel. We're here on a Saturday night for our first ever stream here for the MRL Racing League. We got an invite from Bennett this afternoon saying, would you like to jump in and do some comms on a league called MRL? I said, yeah, why not? I haven't got anything else to do at the moment, so yeah, why not jump on and see what these guys can do here. We're racing at Spain for the first race of the evening. We'll be racing also a bit later on. There'll be a short break in between this race and the next one, which will be at 8:30 tonight. So 2 races tonight to look forward to. But A. Thompson taking pole position there in the qualifying session, but Stomper there in second. Not too far away, only 2/10 between him and Stomper on the medium tyres. So that's a very, very fast time there from Stomper, and he looks to have the edge in pace when you consider the tyre discrepancy there. You got DJ Snarf in third, with Bennett fourth, both of those two on the soft tyres. GJ in fifth ahead of Bautista. But here we are, we're getting ready to go for the race here at Spain. Don't know whether they do a formation lap or whether they just jump straight into it. We'll have to wait and see in a moment's time. Nonetheless, MRL guides, if you're watching this for the first time, if you like what you see here on the Motive Racing channel, please be sure to drop a like on the video. It helps us out more than you know. Subscribe to the channel as well, as it helps us out enormously. And if you want to join our Discord server, all you need to do is go to www.motiveracing.com. You can join the Discord through there, and you can sign up to the RF1 League that runs on Friday night. If that tickles your fancy, if you're any of your sim racers on ACC, then we also run ACC leagues on the PS4 on Wednesday and PS5 on Sunday. But nonetheless, we are moments away here. We're just coming down towards the final seconds here before the start of this race. Don't know whether we're going to have a formation lap or whether it's going to be straight into the race. Some leagues do a formation lap, some just dive straight in head first. So let's see what we're going to have, what we have in store for us here. Looks like we are going for a formation lap. Yes, we are. So here we are. Check, check. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go racing here at Catalonia for the Spanish Grand Prix here at the MRL Racing League. A. Thompson lining up on pole position. Stomper doing a great lap in the qualifying, putting himself on the front row on the medium tyres. DJ Snarf and Bennett there on the second row with GGJ and Bautista on the third row, followed by Ginaldi and JD Donna on the fourth row. Jake Gaming in ninth with Joe Bradley in 10th, and Shade and Mr. Veal are at the back here for this one, as the lights are now about to come on here at the head of the grid. We are seconds away from the start of this race here for the MRL Racing League Spanish Grand Prix, as the engine revs will just go down for a minute and then they'll rise, and we'll hear this deafening silence as we are lights out and away we go. And it's a good start from A. Thompson from pole position, but Stomper gets a little bit bogged down on the medium tyres. He's already got DJ Snarf ahead of him, as now we can see Bennett looking to try and attack down the middle here, coming down towards turn one. Bennett dives up the inside of DJ Snarf up into second place, as Stomper there losing out 2 positions. Bautista's on the back of Stomper right now as they come through turn 3. You've got Bautista followed by JD, then GGJ ahead of Ginaldi, Joe Bradley, Shade. Jake Gaming's lost out to Mr. Veal, and Mr. Veal's up into 11th, but it's A. Thompson out the front ahead of Bennett, and Stomper's got back ahead of DJ Snarf. Oh, he gets a bit of a slide there. Stomper's ground, has he saved it? No, he is out of the race. Stomper has crashed out here on the opening lap, and we've got a virtual safety car straight away here. Stomper there just lost it, putting the throttle down, coming out of turn 4, and round she went and into the barriers. So it's A. Thompson leading ahead of Bennett. You've got DJ Snarf up into 3rd place ahead of Bautista, followed by JD ahead of GGJ. Then you've got Ginaldi followed by Joe Bradley, Mr. Veal ahead of Shade, and Jake Gaming running at the back in P11 at the moment. But what a disaster of a start there for Stomper. Just got a little bit too heavy on the loud pedal there, and that's all that was needed to send it around. And what a shame there for him, obviously, to be out of the race so early on in this race. But coming towards the end of the first lap, most of it's been under VSC so far. But it's A. Thompson from Bennett, from DJ Snoff, from Bautista, and JD there running in 5th ahead of GGJ, followed by Ginaldi. You've got Joe Bradley a couple of seconds back there in 8th place, ahead of Mr. Veal, followed by Shade and Jake Gaming running at the back. But A. Thompson's already got Bennett hassling him as they're coming over the line to complete the first lap. A. Thompson there, fastest lap, but Bennett is breathing down his neck, and DJ Snoff not too far away either, will be definitely there to capitalise. These two trip over each other. GGJ's close on the back of JD coming into turn 1. Ginaldi's all over the back of these two as well at the moment, but currently GGJ can't find a way through as Stomper has left the session here on the second lap of this race due to that first lap crash that we saw where he retired from the race. Jake Gaming in the pits at the end of the first lap to repair some damage, you would think. But A. Thompson from Bennett, from DJ Snoff ahead of Bautista. There's JD Donna in 5th ahead of GGJ, followed by Ginaldi. Joe Bradley there running in 8th place ahead of Mr. Veal. Then you've got Shade and Jake Gaming coming out of the pits there. But Bennett is currently trying to put the pressure on A. Thompson, but he's lost a bit of time coming to the first sector. But A. Thompson's wide. As I say that, A. Thompson's gone wide coming out of turn 6, and that's Bennett up into the lead of the race, and DJ Snoff follows him through. A. Thompson dropping down to 3rd place as they're coming down towards turn 9. Is he going to try and send one here down the inside of DJ Snoff? Oh, he tags him and he goes round. A. Thompson needs to be careful here, needs to not get impatient. It's easily done, obviously. He's in a bit of a rut at the moment. He's falling backwards, but A. Thompson there went for a move that wasn't on there on DJ Snoff, and unfortunately just lost another position there to Bautista. As we can see, GGJ is GGJ's off the track on the gravel. What's happened there? He's lost out to Ginaldi, Joe Bradley and Mr. Veal. He's going to have Shade all over the back of him as well. But GGJ having a nightmare, as well as A. Thompson here on his second lap. Bennett leads the race by over a second ahead of DJ Snoff right now. Bennett will be rubbing his hands together at that one because he's just been given this race lead on a plate here. But A. Thompson will be kicking himself over that one. I was just saying he had started to pull away a bit. He extended the gap by a couple of tenths in the first sector, but Bennett now has got the ascendancy here in this race. He's been gifted this one, and he's pulling away a little bit from DJ Snoff at the moment. A. Thompson still in 4th place. JD there ahead of Ginaldi. You've got Joe Bradley there running in 7th place ahead of Mr. Veal. GGJ there out there at the moment. You've got Shade currently in the pits, and off and away he goes there. So Shade gets it back out, but he's lost a lot of time in this race, and he'll need a safety car, I'm sure, to bring himself into this one. Bennett, who has the lead by 1.3 seconds at the moment. Bautista there running in 3rd ahead of A. Thompson. You've got Ginaldi has got ahead of JD. JD's round. JD's off. JD's had a moment there coming through turn 6 and 7, and that's going to allow Joe Bradley, Mr. Veal both ahead of him there, and he's going to lose out to GGJ as well. And JD gets it going again, but he's lost a lot of places here. He's down to 9th place, and he's a long way off of the leaders right now, so the drivers are taking it in turns to lose it around this circuit here tonight. A. Thompson's currently all over the back of Bautista. He'll have DRS coming down the start finish straight. He'll be able to make something happen as long as he's within that 1 second, and look at that, he gets a much better exit out of the chicane. Here comes A. Thompson out of the last corner. He will have the DRS, he'll have the slipstream here. What's his straight line speed like in comparison to the Alfa Romeo here of Bautista? They're coming down the start finish straight now. A. Thompson, look at the closing speed here, look into the inside. He's going to pull out the slipstream and makes the move down the inside into turn 1. A. Thompson there gets himself into 3rd place, and that was actually a bit easier than I expected it to be there for A. Thompson. Gets himself into the podium spots, as we can see GGJ into the pits to the end of lap 3 to try and get that damage repaired, but he's on the medium tyres at the moment. Let's see what he can get done here over the course of this race. Bautista down to 4th place with A. Thompson making that move there into turn 1. Bennett's got a lead of just under a second here over DJ Snoff at the moment, so it's pretty tight up the front. DJ Snoff now trying to bring the smoke a little bit to Bennett here in this race. GGJ in the pits has put the hard tyres on, so he's off and out again. And let's see what he can get done here over the course of this race, as DJ Snoff is currently all over the back of Bennett here coming into turn 9 here on lap 4. He's pretty close on the back of him right now. You've got Bautista there hassling the back of A. Thompson as they're battling out over that final podium spot at the moment. As you've also got Ginaldi 3 seconds further back ahead of Joe Bradley, who's 2 seconds off of him. 5 seconds off for the podium spot battle at the moment. It is Joe Bradley, though, further 4 seconds back to Mr. Veal to send him. And you've got JD running a long way behind after that spin on the previous lap that we all saw here on the stream. But it's DJ Snoff currently has lost a bit of time to Bennett over the course of that lap. A. Thompson just took the fastest lap of the race from P3. He's cleared Bautista. He's now pulling away a little bit. Bautista, though, has got DRS here coming down the start finish straight, but he's going to get there too late, and A. Thompson is going to have just enough there coming into the corner. But Bennett, though, 0.6 of a second is his gap at the moment over DJ Snoff as they're coming round turn 3 here on lap 5 of this race. But DJ Snarf once again closing a bit in the first sector, seems to have the pace down the straights and in the first sector, and then Bennett seems to have the better of him in the middle sector where there's the twisty bits. That's what part of the track where Bennett seems to really shine around this Catalunya track. But saying that, DJ Snarf's keeping with him coming through this part of the track into the turn 6 and 7 section here of this track. Bennett once again just seems to have the legs here over DJ Snarf as they're coming through this right-hander turn 8, and Bennett's loose all over the place, and that's going to allow DJ Snarf up into the lead of the race. Oh my goodness, a rare mistake there from Bennett LCSC. He loses out on the lead of the race. He's going to have A. Thompson and Bautista hot on his heels in a minute, but that's given DJ Snarf the lead here in this one. He's now got over a second of a gap here to Bennett, and A. Thompson trying to put the pressure on Bennett right now with Bautista hot on their heels as well, looking to try and bring himself into this battle if he can. But it's all happening right now in the early laps of this race. And Bennett there diving into the pits, trying to cover his losses a little bit, save his blushes. In he comes to get a fresh set of boots on as we see Bautista running very wide there out of the last corner, getting a little bit of gravel there on the tyres. It'll be interesting to see what tyres Bennett puts on. Is he going to put the mediums on and do a two-stopper? Yes, he is. Bennett there most likely committing to a two-stopper there, as he'll have to do 28 laps if he doesn't. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing a two-stop strategy from here on in there from Bennett. I imagine he'll put another set of mediums on probably in the closing stages of this race. But in the meantime, it's DJ Snarf leading the race by just over a second right now, ahead of A. Thompson, and Bautista still clinging to the coattails of these guys at the moment. But what a first couple of laps we've seen here for the MRL Racing League. First time I commentated on these guys, and they are certainly delivering the goods right now. They've put on a great show here in this race. As we can see, A. Thompson's just lost a little bit of ground here to DJ Snarf coming to the middle sector, but look at this in the final sector. He seems to be closing that back again. He's now got the gap under a second here is A. Thompson. If he can keep it within that point, he will get the DRS down the start-finish straight. Can he hold himself there as we see DJ Snarf now pulling into the pits, and so is A. Thompson. What about Bautista? Bautista stays out, so Bautista going for the overcut. Question is, has Bennett managed to get the undercut here on these guys? I doubt that he would have, because he did have that moment. He would have had a bit of gravel on the tyres, and he would have had a bit of a diminished grip as he was braking into the pit lane, which could have potentially cost him a bit of confidence as he hit those brakes, which would have lost him a bit of time. But DJ Snarf and A. Thompson coming out of the pits now. Where is Bennett? That's the question. Bennett's coming on the start finish straight. There is A. Thompson just coming out of the pits now, and there's Bennett. So Bennett's just behind them, so no real change really in the pecking order. DJ Snarf maintains the net lead of this race ahead of A. Thompson. Bennett's right behind them, but Bautista still yet to pit, will come out in that train as he was with them before the pit window, before these guys even came in. So A. Thompson's still on the back of DJ Snarf, and it's normal service resumed really. But all of these guys do seem to be two-stopping because they're all on the medium tyres, and you're not going to get to the end on a set of mediums from here. They do not go 27 laps, I can tell you that for free. That's a free bit of advice there from myself to you and to anybody watching, and to anybody who's trying to get involved in the F1 game. You cannot do 27 laps on the medium tyres around Barcelona unless you do 20 of those laps under safety car. But nonetheless, Bennett here trying to put the pressure on DJ Snarf. On A. Thompson. A. Thompson goes right on the back of DJ Snarf. You can see Bennett in the rearview mirrors there of A. Thompson. Bautista's coming into the pits here at the end of lap 7, so in he comes, and let's see whether he's managed to get the overcut here on the others. Obviously DJ Snarf, A. Thompson and Bennett battling it out for the net lead of the race. Ginaldi's still to come in. Joe Bradley's coming in now as well. What about Mr. Veal? He stays out for the time being, so Ginaldi and Mr. Veal on the medium tyres, keeping it out there for the time being, as Bennett does the fastest lap of the race there on that last lap. What a lap there from Bennett as he's on the back of these guys. But A. Thompson's made the move there for the net lead of the race on DJ Snarf. He's got himself up into the lead once again. Well, was P3 at the moment, but obviously with Ginaldi and Mr. Veal still yet to pit, and Bautista's come out a couple of seconds off of this lead battle right now. So Bautista's got work to do. He'll be hoping that these three trip over each other. A. Thompson, DJ Snarf and Bennett, who are still running within a stone's throw of each other at the moment. Ginaldi leads the race by 12 seconds ahead of Mr. Veal. You've got JD currently in the pits at the moment, putting a fresh set of hard tyres on by the looks of it, according to my timing screen. But DJ Snarf trying to get something done here with A. Thompson right now. Lap 8 of 33 here for the MRL Racing League. God, I commentate on about 6 or 7 different F1 leagues. I've lost count how many different F1 leagues I commentate on now. It's literally 5 days a week, different, sometimes 2 leagues in one night. honestly, it's getting a bit too much for my brain. I just have to I'm gonna have to write myself a brief or something. But Jake Gaming's got a 3-second time penalty that's just popped up on the screen there for multiple track limit warnings we're seeing. So he's obviously pushed his luck a little bit. Now we know that in the F1 game you do get a few warnings before you get a penalty. It's like, right mate, you need to sort this out because you're pushing your luck. You're really taking the mickey now, and you need to stop cutting these corners and taking advantage of the rules. Otherwise you're going to get a penalty, and if you decide to heed that advice and you decide to start playing by the rules and doing things the right way, then the stewards will be like, okay, look, we know what's happened here. I think it's pretty clear. You obviously know as well, but you're making an effort to play by the rules. We can see that you haven't broken those rules for quite a while now, so we'll let this one go, but just make sure it never happens again, you naughty, horrible piece of work. But in the meantime, DJ Snarf currently right on the back of Agent Thompson. Bennett's just dropped about a second off at the back of these two at the moment, but he's still right there. He's still very much in contention. Mr. Veal's actually on the back of Bennett as well. Mr. Veal has still got to pit because he started the race on those medium tyres that he's on right now. Although he might be able to one-stop it potentially, but if he were to one-stop, he would have to go. He would have to probably go about 20 laps on these medium tyres. So either way, he's going to lose time. I wonder maybe if he's going to stick the hards on, but in which case he would have diminished pace over the others. So yeah, he's got to find that spot where he can really make the most of it. But in the meantime, A. Thompson does the fastest lap of the race there, 1 minute 19.8 there in the McLaren. So he's doing a good job, but Bennett's right on the back of DJ Snarf, still within the DRS range at the moment. And all these guys DRS on each other, but Bennett's just clinging to the back of them at the moment. He's not falling off of him. He's still in striking distance at this point. DJ Snarf trying to come back at A. Thompson after A. Thompson made the move on him a couple of laps ago. But Bennett is going to be all over these guys for the remainder of this race. This is going to be a three-way battle for the win, I'm sure of that. This is going to go down to the wire between all these this trio. I know A. Thompson, I know Bennett very well. DJ Snarf, this is the first time I've ever seen him in a race, and I've been impressed. He's got some real strong pace. Kind of driver that we want to see on the Motive channel. As DJ Snarf's gone off, as I say that, DJ Snarf covers himself in not very much glory. Oh no! DJ Snarf has crashed out of the race there. He loses on the exit of turn 8. He bins it into the barriers, and DJ Snarf is missing his front wing, and that's going to surely be a safety car. I'll be surprised if it isn't. But we got double yellow flags through sector 2, and just as we were talking him up, just as we were singing his praises, DJ Snarf has absolutely ruined it. And I think that is going to be, well, it looks like they're going to recover that under double wave yellow flags, but nonetheless I'm surprised about that one. But DJ Snarf, what a shame there for him. Yes, we have got a safety car, so safety car here. What are A. Thompson and Bennett going to do with their strategy? Possibly put the hards on and go to the end? No, it looks like they're both staying out. So maybe they've passed the pit entry as the safety car came out, because it did come out quite late. That could give guys like Mr. Veal an opportunity. No, he's staying out, so is Bautista. They're all staying out by the looks of it. Joe Bradley's staying out. Jake Gaming's coming into the pits, so he's making the most of this opportunity here. GTJ put the hard tyres on a few laps ago. Maybe could come in and put another set on. No, not playing it safe by the looks of it. JD coming into the pits, even though he came in on the previous lap. Shade is just coming through turn 9, so we'll find out what he's doing in a minute. But safety car here for the MRL Racing League. What a race we've had so far. Dramatic, and we're only a third of the way in. Stay tuned, guys, for the rest of this race, and also make sure you join us later on at 8:30 p.m. We'll be live for the Brazil race here for the MRL League as well, so tune in for that later on. There will be a short break in between this race and that one, and we'll be back on for that 8:30. But we'll be back here in a couple of minutes time for the restart after this safety car period ends. Don't go anywhere. Check, check. Here we are then, guys, we're back underway here at Spain, and we can see Bautista looking down the inside of Ginaldi, gets himself into third place there. Jake Gaming's also made the move on GGJ, but Ginaldi looks like he's come back up as Bautista here coming through turn 3. Obviously he might be able to complete that one. I think he might have done. No, Bautista back down the inside for turn 3 and gets that move done. Jake Gaming looking down the inside of Joe Bradley. Can he make this move here? Joe Bradley gives him the space on the inside. Jake Gaming's gone for it and he's completed that one up into 5th place. A. Thompson though leads ahead of Bennett as we see Mr. Veal straight in the pits here on this restart. A strange time to come into the pits when you consider that he had the entirety of that safety car period to get that one done. But A. Thompson here ahead of Bennett. You've got Bautista there ahead of Ginaldi, followed by Jake Gaming. Joe Bradley there in 6th place. You've got GGJ who's got ahead of JD, and JD's lost out here to Shade. JD, what's happened to him? He's off! He's off! He's at a moment, he's off onto the grass there coming out of turn 7. So JD there's had an absolute nightmare on the gravel and back onto the track he comes. But that's been an absolute horror show there for him. But A. Thompson leads ahead of Bennett. You've got Bautista ahead of Ginaldi, followed by Jake Gaming. Joe Bradley there in 6th, ahead of GGJ. And the top 7 have broken away from the rest of them at this point, but it's A. Thompson who has that ascendancy. Bennett those hunting him down. The 2 McLarens once again 1 and 2 here. The 2 friends, we know that they obviously work together in the OG league. They're both the admins on there. They like to race together in other leagues as well. They like to let their hair down and drive in leagues where they don't have admin responsibilities, and these guys are currently enjoying their racing right now out the front. Lap 15 of 33 right now as they've got a couple of seconds back to Bautista. Ginaldi there in 4th ahead of Jake Gaming. Joe Bradley there in P6 ahead of GGJ as we see JD coming into the pits here at the end of lap 14, so not quite sure why. He must have had some damage there, I assume maybe from the damage that we saw from when we saw him running wide. But A. Thompson 0.6 of a second is his gap over Bennett right now. Ginaldi within 0.3 of a second of Bautista, so he's looking to try and make something happen as quickly as he possibly can into the turn 6 and 7. Little bit they come. They got Jake Gaming just behind them in P5 at the moment, only 0.6 behind them at this point. A. Thompson though has just got just over a second at the moment over Bennett LCFC, as we can see Ginaldi all over the back of Bautista here coming into turn 9. Jake Gaming still clinging to the back of them just about. JD's still in the pits. He has not moved. He is out of the pits now, so he's finally got that pit stop done. But Jake Gaming is still trying to make something happen here. Ginaldi is all over Bautista though. He's basically inside. He's basically underneath that car. He's just dipping his nose underneath that suspension there as they come out of the last corner, and Ginaldi will have to run here. But is DRS enabled yet? I don't think it is. No. DRS not enabled. He's going to have to do this on grunt. Has he got the grunt? Ginaldi's got a little bit more ERS, but then Bautista, but not much more. Up towards turn 1 we come. He's looking to the outside. Bautista making him go around the long way. Can Ginaldi do this one? Bautista there just keeping a car's width there on the outside, and Ginaldi couldn't make it happen. Jake Gaming now joining this battle here for 3rd place as these guys are losing time to the 2 leaders, A. Thompson and Bennett, as now Ginaldi has to look from what's behind him because Jake Gaming is coming for him here as Shade is in the pits here at the end of that 15, so he's making that pit stop right now. A. Thompson ahead of Bennett. Bautista a further 3 seconds back in 3rd place ahead of Ginaldi. You've got Jake Gaming still all over the back of these guys right now as GGJ is within a second of Joe Bradley at this point in this battle for 6th and 7th places here. But there are battles everywhere you look right now. It's all going off here in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix here at the MRL Racing League, as we see Jake Gaming having a look to the inside into turn 9 on Ginaldi, but nothing doing there. Can't send one there. Not quite close enough to make that happen. GGJ's currently got trying to get something done here with Joe Bradley as these two continue to fight it out for 6th and 7th places. Back up to the podium battle though, because Ginaldi is within 0.2 of Bautista, and this time he'll have DRS to help him out. Last time around we saw him looking to the outside into turn 1, had to do it on grunt. This time around he's going to get that rear wing open, but he's a little bit further back this time than he was last time. Bautista doesn't have any DRS, so he'll be defenseless, but he's getting there a bit too late is Ginaldi. He's going to look to send one here. Is he going to outbrake himself though? I think he gets it stopped beautifully there. Ginaldi down the inside of it to 3rd place. That looked a little bit easy there, I've got to say. I was surprised at how easy that was, because you'd have thought with the top end speed that he had coming into that corner that he had to brake a bit earlier, but Bautista was very, very cautious there on the brakes, and Ginaldi just breezed past him up into the lead, up into 3rd place, should I say. GGJ's up into 6th. He's got ahead of Joe Bradley there, so Joe there losing out, but Joe Bradley's diving back down the inside here as GGJ holding around the outside for turn 5. GGJ holds on to that one and gets himself into P6 as Shade is now trying to look to get the move done on Mr. Veal. In fact, Mr. Veal, I think it's just out-dragged him down the straight with DRS, so Mr. Veal's got himself up into 8th place. Bennett and A. Thompson battling it out into turn 9 as A. Thompson holding it at the inside, but Bennett's going to try and get it on the outside here at turn 10. The two McLarens continue to dice it out. Bennett's got the inside here for turn 11. Can he hold it all the way around? They're still side by side, and these guys are putting it up as an absolutely brilliant show right now. The two Papaya cars are going at it here at Spain as Bennett there gets the move completed, but he's got a bit deep into the second part of the chicane, and that will allow A. Thompson the run coming around the final corner, and he'll have DRS down the start-finish straight. I think A. Thompson's going to come straight back at him here. Bennett weaving around, trying to break the toe, but he needs to make sure he doesn't make more than one move here. He's all over the place here, trying to defend a position. A. Thompson pulls out to the left-hand side of your screen, and he's going to make this move into turn 1. A. Thompson back up into the lead of the race. Bennett trying to get the inside for turn 2, and they are still side by side. A. Thompson finally gets it done there into turn 3. Great racing from the two McLarens. Jake Gaming getting up into 4. No! Oh, what's happened to Jake Gaming? He's lost out. GGJ and Joe Bradley move up ahead of him. Jake Gaming's dropped down to 7th place. Bautista's got up into 6th as well, but Bennett there, as I thought so many times there he got that done on A. Thompson, but it looks like A. Thompson's got back ahead of him once again. These two are putting on an absolutely fantastic show out the front. Credit to these two for the show that they are giving us at this point. As we can see right now that Bennett within 6/10 of A. Thompson, but it looks like that charge for the time being has petered out. It looks like that attack has just waned a little bit. But what absolute great driving from both of those two. Clean as you like, no silly business, no messing around. They were just keeping it absolutely just millimeters from each other, but doing it absolutely perfectly. So credit to both of these two who race regularly here on the Motive Racing channel. We've seen them both, we know them both quite well by now. We've seen them racing in Motive on a Friday night, we've seen them racing in the OG League and the XL Leagues, also a few others as well. As Bennett there, DRS into turn 1, can't do anything there at the moment with A. Thompson, but these two currently showing everybody how it's done right now, not just in terms of the pace, but also in terms of their conduct, their racing. Their etiquette is absolutely just spot on right now, and they continue to give each other absolute hell out the front. A. Thompson a bit wide there out of turn 4, which will probably give Bennett a little bit of confidence, but it looks like the attack from Bennett was a little bit short-lived. He's going to obviously have to just regroup, go again, maybe rethink his strategy on how he's going to get past A. Thompson, and then he's got a while in this race to go yet. He's still got 14 laps to make this happen, so he's not going to be in too much of a rush. He's not going to be thinking, oh god, I need to get it done now. He has got time on his side. He just needs to keep himself there and keep focused, and potentially the opportunity will present itself over the course of the last part of this race. But we're only just over halfway through this race. We've already had a safety car, we've had a few incidents, a couple of drivers have retired from the race. F1 Stomper retired on the first lap, we got a VSC for that one, and then DJ Staff ended up crashing out a few laps into the race, had a moment coming out of turn 8 onto that little back straight, ended up in the barrier, lost basically everything on that car. But A. Thompson here has got Bennett weaving around in his slipstream, looking to try and make something happen into turn 1. A. Thompson for the time being has got that ascendancy still, as Mr. Veal is on the back of Shade here in this battle for 8th place, looking to try and make this move. Shade, that's his AI in the car. Shade's not there, so let's just not look at that. But Bennett in the meantime still on the back of A. Thompson, as these two continue to give each other a great scrap here, and they're so evenly matched, these two, A. Thompson and Bennett, driving in the same car, probably using similar setups, or maybe they go opposite ways, because potentially they could have different driving styles. It's difficult to know when you're outside the car, but yeah, these two just so even. There's nothing really separating them in terms of their overall skill level, and right now it's being shown at the moment. A. Thompson's done 12 laps on his medium tyres, Bennett's done 13 on his, so Bennett's tyres are a little bit older, but they'll both be needing to come into the pits pretty soon, I would imagine. They'll probably long it out for another couple of laps. I imagine they will want to try and go to about lap 22, 23, and then stick a set of softs on and go to the end, you would think. I reckon we'll be seeing Bennett in on lap 22, and A. Thompson will be seeing in on lap 23. They obviously can't come in on the same lap because they are teammates, so they need to they probably need to be discussing this one in their party chat, if they are in a party chat. I imagine those two are probably in a party chat, and then you've got the other guys in their party chat, because Obviously, I know that these two are good mates. They're racing quite a few leagues together, but there's 0.7 of a second currently separating these two as they continue to fight it out here on lap 21 of 33 here for the Spanish Grand Prix at the MRL Racing League. Drivers who are in this race, if you enjoy watching this back afterwards, please, I would always say, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you haven't already. If you want to see more content like this, we stream multiple leagues throughout the week. If you're watching this, if you want your league to be streamed, if you want some comms on your league, then by all means give me a shout. If my schedule is free, then I'll be more than happy to do so. I commentate now on, I think it's 11 different leagues I commentate on now. Not 11 different leagues as in Discord servers, but 11 different events I commentate on. I commentate 5 nights a week, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 events per night. And obviously we stream it all to this Motive Racing channel, so if anybody would like us to stream it to this channel, give you a little bit of airtime, allow you to be able to enjoy the races back afterwards, then let us know. As we see Bennett coming into the pits at the end of lap 21, so he's going to put the soft tyres on, a 12-lap dash to the end of the race. A. Thompson staying out for now, he'll be coming in, I imagine, at the end of this lap, however. But A. Thompson continuing to do the business out the front. 3.5 seconds is his gap at the moment over Ginaldi, as Bennett is just coming on the exit of the pits now. So out he comes and into turn 1. There he goes. A. Thompson's got a 3.5 second gap at the moment out the front here over Ginaldi. Ginaldi just closed that gap a little bit coming through the first sector. But at this point, it's looking like it's very much a battle between A. Thompson and Bennett for the win. Mr. Ville's just picked up a 3-second time penalty there for track limits. So he's obviously been ignoring those warnings and thinking, nope, I know better than you guys, I'm going to just carry on cutting these corners. And obviously the stewards have said, nope, sorry, you've had your fun, now you're going to get a penalty. But Bautista's currently within 2 seconds of Joe Bradley at the moment. Bennett is, let's see, he's about 20 seconds up on the lead at the moment, obviously with having made his pit stop. I imagine the pit is probably about 20 seconds, so we'll be seeing A. Thompson and Bennett very close, and A. Thompson is now coming in. That's the big news here. A. Thompson now coming in to make his pit stop. And where's he going to come out in relation to his rival for this race winners? Ginaldi temporarily takes the lead of this race. In fact, Ginaldi, I wonder if he's going to try and go to the end. GGJ, I've forgotten about him. He is now in second place. And GGJ, I wonder if he's planning on going to the end from here. He could potentially be going to the end. Joe Bradley's definitely got to pit again. Ginaldi's almost certainly got to pit again as well. So let's see, Bennett and A. Thompson are 15 seconds behind Ginaldi. They're 10 seconds behind GGJ. They're 5 seconds behind Joe Bradley. So even if the guys in front of them don't pit, they're going to have very worn out tyres. You would expect Bennett and A. Thompson to have the pace on them coming into the end of the race. Bennett's tyres will be starting to go off a bit at the end. A. Thompson's will start to go off in the last couple of laps. But they should be alright. 11-12 laps under soft. You should just be able to just about scrape them home. But these two currently running together again. Now the question is, are they going to race, or are they going to work together and try and catch up to the guys ahead? As we see A. Thompson DRS there, got a bit wide out of turn 8, but he can't quite get the move done into turn 9 there. And Bennett is still holding on to what I think should be the net lead of this race. But never say never, because I tell you what, Ginaldi is pushing out the front. GGJ can definitely go to the end on those hard tyres. Joe Bradley realistically will need to pit again, but is he going to? That is the question that we're going to find out over the course of the next few minutes here. But the two McLarens coming out of the last corner, and it's now A. Thompson very close to the back of Bennett, and he's going to put out a massive stream here. A. Thompson goes for the position here and moves himself up into 4th place. These two are obviously good to go to the end of the race. We believe the guys up ahead of them have got a pit, so these two should be battling over the lead come the end of the race, but we'll have to wait and see. But A. Thompson now into 4th place here in this race. Ginaldi has got a 14-second gap to A. Thompson and Bennett at this point. GGJ's 9 seconds ahead of them, and Joe Bradley is only 2 seconds ahead of them. So these two absolutely reeling in Joe Bradley like no tomorrow, as Bautista's got ahead of Jake Gaming up into 6th place. So good stuff there from Bautista up into P6. But A. Thompson and Bennett will be coming up on Jake Bradley very, very shortly, so they'll be right up his trumpet in a few moments' time. And I imagine that Joe Bradley won't make it too hard for these two, with the fact that they are battling for the race win, and Joe Bradley certainly isn't. Whether or not not he's going to try and go to the end from here. It's up to him, but he's not in this battle for the win. JD into the pits here at the end of lap 24. He's forgotten man in this race, unfortunately, due to a couple of spins and a few skirmishes at the start. He's on his way out of the pits now, and he's just coming out in front of an Alpha, which is Ginaldi, the race leader. Obviously, Ginaldi on 12 lap olds, medium tyres. He could feasibly go to the end from here, you know. He might just be able to get those mediums to go 21 laps, but the thing is that A. Thompson and Bennett are now, they're only about 12, 13 seconds behind him. They're gaining about a second and a half a lap. Actually, it could be close. It could be close. Ginaldi can keep this pace up. It could be very close to the end, because those soft tyres for A. Thompson and Bennett will be hanging on for the last 2 or 3 laps. So I tell you what, if they haven't got onto him by then, we could be seeing Ginaldi maybe having a bit of a second wind in relation to those two. But they are absolutely coming at Ginaldi and GGJ. A. Thompson and Bennett pushing on, and A. Thompson's actually opened up a second of a gap here to Bennett, so he's got himself out of that DRS threat, which will be giving him that bit of peace of mind. But by the time we get up to the other guys, Ginaldi and GGJ, I reckon A. Thompson will probably be falling back into the clutches of Bennett again. But again, we'll just have to see how this unfolds. Lap 25 of 33, this is turning into a fascinating strategic race. We don't know what's going to happen here. This is really unpredictable at this point. This could go either way. Is it going to be A. Thompson or Bennett, or is Ginaldi going to make these medium tyres last all the way to the flag? GGJ on the hard tyres, still doing a good job, and he's still got 7 seconds back to A. Thompson, so A. Thompson isn't gaining hand over fist on him. He is definitely gaining on him though. I mean, there's no question. He's gaining about a second and a half a lap, so I think A. Thompson and Bennett will catch up to GGJ, and they should, on paper, catch up to Ginaldi, but it's still on the cards. Ginaldi could win this race in this one tonight. We're on the 8th to last lap of the race, and he's got an 11-second gap, so the gap came down by another couple of seconds on that lap. But that deficit that the hards and the mediums have to the soft will be less and less lap after lap, because the softs wear out so much quicker than the mediums and the hards. So that deficit will be getting less and less, and the amount that A. Thompson and Bennett will be gaining on these two will be less and less. They are still gaining, obviously, because they got fresher and faster tyres. They're still going to be gaining time on them, but the amount that they're gaining will be less and less. JD has crashed out of the race. Don't be a safety car, please. Oh, for God's sake. Check. Here on to turn one then, Ginaldi leading us ahead of GGJ, but the side by side here, and all we see Ginaldi's spun now coming through turn two. He's lost it, he's back to the, he's down to the back of the pack here. GGJ leads ahead of Bennett, ahead of A. Thompson. Bautista's on the medium tyres. He's obviously tried to go for track position. It hasn't really worked out too well. Joe Bradley there behind him. Mr. Veals made the move on Jake Gaming there, up into 6th place as they came through turn 3, but now Jake back down the inside for 5, and we see he's managed to make the move back up into 6th place there. Jake Gaming and Mr. Veal having a great fight here. Up towards turn 6 we come. Jake Gaming holds that inside line, and A. Thompson's crashed out of the race. No way! A. Thompson's out of the race here in lap 29 of the race. 4 laps left to go. I don't know what happened there. We were missing that as we were watching the battle going on between Jake Gaming and Mr. Veal. But it's GGJ leading ahead of Bennett, and Bennett now hassling the back of GGJ here for the lead of the race. You've got Bautista there running in 3rd place ahead of Joe Bradley. Mr. Veals made the move once again on Jake. Jake's wide coming through turn 11. That's why Shades AI there is moving up into 6th place, and Ginaldi there running in P8 in this race will be kicking himself after that. But GGJ and Bennett clear away ahead of Bautista as they're coming down the start finish straight here. It was Bennett versus A. Thompson for the win before the safety car, and A. Thompson will be ruining what could have been here as the safety car meant that he was back down the field on fresh soft tyres, and he's now crashed out of the race as we now see Bennett looking around the outside here at GGJ, but GGJ covering their inside line. The thing about GGJ is that he was going to race all the way to the end on the hard tyres before, but obviously with the strategy being blown out of the window, he put the soft tyres on, and now it's a straight fight between GGJ and Bennett for this race win. Who is going to prevail? Who is going to come out on top here with 4 laps left in this race? Bennett is throwing the kitchen sink right now at GGJ. But what can he do here on board with Bennett in the McLaren as he's trying to put this pressure on? Ginaldi's got ahead of Shade, seeing that on the timing board there. Shade's AI, we believe, is in the car. Jake's in the pits after that collision that we saw with Mr. Veal coming through turn 11 on the previous lap. But Bennett here pretty close to the back of GGJ, coming down towards turn 9. He has a little look to the inside. Is he going to send one there? No, thinks better of that one. GGJ for the time being holding on to that position, but Bennett there throwing everything he can at GGJ in the closing laps of this race. This one's going down to the wire here for the first race of the night here for the MRL Racing League here out on the Motive channel for the F1 2021 Codemasters Formula 1 game here on the PlayStation 4 and 5. Bennett there within 6/10, but no DRS this time around. It will be open next time around as we're on lap 3 now of this restart. Bennett has got barely any DRS left. He's used pretty much all of it. He's only got 20% left. GGJ has got 37% left of his, so GGJ's been a bit more economical on the DRS, but Bennett is looking pretty feisty here in this battle for the lead of the race. You've got Bautista 3 seconds behind in 3rd place. Joe Bradley a further 3 seconds back in the 4th. You've got Mr. Veal about 7 seconds off of the lead. Oh, he's done it anymore. He's just lost it there coming through turn 2, and he's got to get a scramble it back together again. That's going to give Ginaldi the position. Mr. Veal has lost his front wing, so he's got to hobble around to the pits here on this 31st lap of the race. As Shades AI is now up into 6th place here in this race. And Jake Gaming still going in 8th place, but Mr. Veal down to P7 in the meantime, back to the battle for the lead. Bennett still trying to get something done here with GGJ coming here through turn 8 at the moment, but Bennett looks like he's just a little bit too far back at the moment. DRS will help him bring himself within striking distance once again. Double wave yellow flags through sector 2. We're not quite sure why. I'm looking at the timing board to see if there's any major discrepancies developing, but doesn't appear to be at the moment. And Bennett is still hanging in there with GGJ at the moment as they're coming through the final sector of the lap. Just over 2 laps left to go as Bennett wallops the curb there, coming in towards that final chicane section. Here they come out of the last corner. Bennett is still pretty close on the back of GGJ, 0.8 of a second separating these two at the moment as they're starting the penultimate lap of the race here. We've got more racing later on, guys, as well. If you're watching this, if you want to tune in a bit later on, we've got the second race of the evening for the same league, the MRL Racing League. Will be at Brazil about half an hour after the end of this race, so stay tuned for that. I'll be live about 8:30 p.m. BST, that's UK time, and 0.7 of a second currently separating these two, GGJ and Bennett at the moment. No other battles really going on, it's just this one for the leader. Bennett's wide. Oh, Bennett's gone off. Keep it together, keep it together. Oh no, he's lost his front wing, and Bennett there loses it. He bins it into the opposite wall, and that's going to ruin his chances of taking the win here. GGJ continues on, and Bennett has to be careful there. Very sensibly puts the brakes on and avoids being caught up in oncoming traffic there. That's given Batista second place. It's given Joe Bradley a podium out of nowhere here. And Ginaldi into 4th. Bennett, though, has lost his chance of taking a win, and he's going to lose valuable points there with that all or nothing charge there on this penultimate lap of the race. It's given GGJ a bit of an easy run for this final lap of the race. It was set up to be one of the most exciting finishes we've seen here at Motive this week, but unfortunately for Bennett, it has all come crashing down as GGJ is coming around the last corner and he's about to start the final lap of this race. Batista running 6 seconds behind him there in second place. He's got a further 4 seconds back to Joe Bradley, who's 10 seconds off of the lead at the moment. You've got Ginaldi there running 12 seconds off of the lead in fourth place. Bennett there 26 seconds off of the lead right now. He's lost out to Shade there. Shade up into fifth place. And Bennett there, obviously with no front wing, will only fall further back here in this race. Jake Gaming there running in seventh place right now. He's 17 seconds behind Bennett at the moment, and he'll probably pick Bennett off once Bennett comes in to get that front wing changed. And there is Bennett into the pits now, so he will get that fixed on this lap. But that is so frustrating there for Bennett LCFC. He's going to be kicking himself after that one because he had the win within his grasp. He was a P2 certified if he didn't make that mistake, but nonetheless it's going to give GGJ an easy win. It's going to give, well, not an easy win, he fought tooth and nail for it, but you know what I mean, it's going to give him a much easier run at the last lap than he would have expected. Bautista running in second place. Joe Bradley will complete the podium as long as he doesn't get overtaken by Ginaldi, who's on a bit of a charge here at the end of this race. The gap to second and a half, I think Joe should have that one covered. Shade will finish in fifth ahead of Jake sixth. Bennett's out of the pits now in seventh place, but GGJ coming into the final few corners here at Catalonia for the Spanish Grand Prix here at the MRL Racing League. The first time we covered this league tonight, it's been dramatic, not too many drivers, but a lot of thrills and spills. Out of the last corner, GGJ comes to take the checkered flag here at Barcelona. He's going to be the race victory here in the first race of the night. Tune in later on, we'll be live at 8:30 for the second race, but oh wow, Batista takes it on the penalties. No way! GGJ loses the race win on the penalties, so Bautista comes over to take the win ahead of GGJ in second place. Joe Bradley takes third place in this one ahead of Ginaldi, who takes fourth in this race. So Ginaldi there fourth, but Joe Bradley just about missing out there on GGJ's second place. So he came close there to a P2 to Joe, but GGJ very unlucky not to get the win, I've got to say. Shade comes over to take fifth place here in this race. Jake Gaming coming out of the last corner. He's just coming through the last corner and up towards the line. It's going to be a P6 here for Jake Gaming. Some solid points there just for hanging in there. 8 championship points there for him. And Bennett LCFC, after that penultimate lap crash, will come over to finish in 7th place, and he'll be gutted to have lost the race win there, but nonetheless decent points there for him. But this man here, Bautista, takes the win after getting a little bit fortuitous there with GGJ's penalty. Bennett didn't even need to take the win on the track, but nonetheless it's done and dusted now. And Bautista, your deserved winner here on the time penalties. So that is that. There's the podium. That's the podium celebrations, and that is the classification. Bautista taking the win ahead of GGJ. Joe Bradley in third, completing the podium. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back very, very shortly for the second race of the evening. We've got GGJ in the comments on the YouTube stream saying that he didn't have a penalty, so it's a glitch there on the game. So GGJ should, I think, get the win as long as he can provide footage. He should get the win there, but bit of a shame that one ended the way it did. Nonetheless, guys, make sure you join us in in about 40 minutes time for the second race. We'll be at Brazil, we'll be at Interlagos for the final race of this evening. So we're just going to show a quick replay. We're going to have this one on repeat whilst we get that one underway, so stay tuned for that. We'll be back in not too long. an absolute horror show there for him. Nate Thompson leads ahead of Benny. You've got Bautista ahead of Ginaldi, followed by Jake Gaming. Joe Bradley there in 6th ahead of GGJ. The top 7 have broken away from the rest of them at this point, but it's A. Thompson who has that ascendancy. Bennett though hunting him down. The two McLarens, Marta game 1 and 2 here. The two friends, we know that they obviously work together in the OG league. They're both the admins on there. They like to race together in other leagues as well. They like to let their hair down and drive in leagues where we don't have admin responsibilities, and these guys are currently enjoying their racing right now out the front. Lap 15 of 33 right now as they've got a couple of seconds back to Bautista. Ginaldi there in 4th ahead of Jake Gaming. Joe Bradley there in P6 ahead of GGJ. As we see JD coming into the pits here at the end of lap 14, so not quite sure why. He must have had some damage there, I assume, maybe from the damage that we saw from when we saw him running wide. But A. Thompson, 6/10 of a second is his gap over Bennett right now. Ginaldi within 3/10 of a second of Bautista, so he's looking to try and make something happen as quickly as he possibly can into the turn 6 and 7. Little bit, here they come. They got Jake Gaming just behind them in P5 at the moment, only 6/10 behind them at this point. A. Thompson though has just got just over a second at the moment over Bennett. LTFC, as we can see, Ginaldi all over the back of Bautista here coming into turn 9. Jake Gaming still clinging to the back of him just about. JD's still in the pits, he has not moved, he is out of the pits now, so he's finally got that pit stop done. But Jake Gaming is still trying to make something happen here. Ginaldi is all over Bautista though, he's basically inside, he's basically underneath that car, he's just dipping his nose underneath that suspension there as they come out of the last corner. Ginaldi will have to run here, but is DRS enabled yet? I don't think it is, no. DRS not enabled, he's going to have to do this on grunt. Has he got the grunt? Ginaldi's got a little bit more DRS, but then Bautista, but not much more. Up towards turn 1 we come, he's looking to the outside. Bautista making him go around the long way. Can Ginaldi do this one? Bautista there just keeping a car's width there on the outside, and Ginaldi couldn't make it happen. Jake Gaming now joining this battle here for 3rd place as these guys are losing time to the two leaders, A. Thompson and Bennett. But now Ginaldi has to look from what's behind him because Jake Gaming is coming for him here. As Shade is in the pits here at the end of that 15, so he's making that pit stop right now. A. Thompson ahead of Bennett, Bautista a further 3 seconds back in 3rd place ahead of Ginaldi. You've got Jake Gaming still all over the back of these guys right now as GGJ is within a second of Joe Bradley at this point in this battle for 6th and 7th places here. But there are battles everywhere you look right now. It's all going off here in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix here at the MRL Racing League as we see Jake Gaming have a look to the inside into turn 9 on Ginaldi, but nothing doing there, can't send one there, not quite close enough to make that happen. GGJ's currently got trying to get something done here with Joe Bradley as these two continue to fight it out for 6th and 7th places. Back up to the podium battle though because Ginaldi is within 2/10 of Bautista, and this time he'll have DRS to help him out. Last time around we saw him looking to the outside into turn 1, had to do it on front. This time around he's going to get that rear wing open, but he's a little bit further back this time than he was last time. Bautista doesn't have any DRS, so he'll be defenseless, but he's getting there a bit too late as Ginaldi. He's going to look to send one here. He's going to outbrake himself though. I think he gets it stopped beautifully there. Ginaldi down the inside of into 3rd place. That looked a little bit easy there, I've got to say. I was surprised at how easy that was because you'd have thought with the top end speed that he had coming into that corner, he'd have had to brake a bit earlier, but Bautista was very cautious there on the brakes, and Ginaldi just breezed past him up into the lead, up into 3rd place, should I say. GGJ's up into 6th, he's got ahead of Joe Bradley there, so Joe they're losing out, but Joe Bradley's diving back down the inside here as GGJ holding around the outside for turn 5. GGJ holds on to that one and gets himself into P6 as Shade is now trying to look to get the move done. Mr. Ville, in fact Mr. Ville, I think it's just out dragged him down the straight with DRS, so Mr. Ville's got himself up into 8th place. Bennett and A. Thompson battling it out into turn 9 as A. Thompson holding it on the inside, but Bennett's going to try to get it on the outside here in turn 10. The two McLarens continue to dice it out. Bennett's got the inside here for turn 11. Can he hold it all the way around? They're still side by side, and these guys are putting it up as an absolutely brilliant show right now. The two papaya cars are going at it here at Spain as Bennett there gets the move completed, but he's got a bit deep into the second part of the chicane, and that will allow A. Thompson the run coming around the final corner, and he'll have DRS down the start finish straight. I think A. Thompson's going to come straight back in here. Bennett weaving around trying to break the toe, but he needs to make sure he doesn't make more than one move here. He's all over the place here trying to defend a position. A. Thompson pulls out to the left hand side of your screen, and he's going to make this move into turn 1. A. Thompson back up into the lead of the race. Bennett trying to get it inside for turn 2, and they are still side by side. A. Thompson finally gets it done there into turn 3. Great racing from the two McLarens. Jake Gaming getting up into 4. No! Oh, what's happened to Jake Gaming? He's lost out. GGJ and Joe Bradley move up ahead of him. Jake Gaming's dropped down to 7th place. Bautista's got up into 6th as well, but Bennett there, I thought so many times there he got that done on A. Thompson, but it looks like A. Thompson got back ahead of him once again. These two are putting on an absolutely fantastic show out the front. Credit to these two for the show that they are giving us at this point. As we can see right now that Bennett within 6/10 of A. Thompson, but it looks like that charge for the time being has petered out. It looks like that attack has just waned a little bit. But what absolute great driving from both of those two. Clean as you like, no silly business, no messing around. They were just keeping it absolutely just millimeters from each other, but doing it absolutely perfectly. So credit to both of these two who race regularly here on the Motive Racing channel. We've seen them both, we know them both quite well by now. We've seen them racing in Motive on a Friday night, we've seen them racing in the OG League and the XL Leagues, also a few others as well. With Bennett there, DRS into turn 1, can't do anything there at the moment with A. Thompson, but these two currently showing everybody how it's done right now, not just in terms of the pace, but also in terms of their conduct, their racing, their etiquette is absolutely just spot on right now, and they continue to give each other absolute hell out the front. A. Thompson a bit wide there out of turn 4, which will probably give Bennett a little bit of confidence, but it looks like the attack from Bennett was a little bit short-lived. He's going to obviously have to just regroup, go again, maybe rethink his strategy on how he's going to get past A. Thompson, and then he's got a while in this race to go yet. He's still got 14 laps to make this happen, so he's not going to be in too much of a rush. He's not going to be thinking, oh god, I need to get it done now. He has got time on his side. He just needs to keep himself there and keep focused, and potentially the opportunity will present itself over the course of the last part of this race. But we're only just over halfway through this race. We've already had a safety car, we've had a few incidents, a couple of drivers have retired from the race. F1 Stomper retired on the first lap, we got a VSC for that one, and then DJ Staff ended up crashing out a few laps into the race. Had a moment coming out of turn 8 onto that little back straight, ended up in the barrier, lost basically everything on that car. But A. Thompson here has got Bennett weaving around in his slipstream, looking to try and make something happen into turn 1. A. Thompson, for the time being, has got that ascendancy still, as Mr. Veal is on the back of Shade here in this battle for 8th place, looking to try and make through Shade. That's his AI in the car. Shade's not there, so let's just not look at that. But Bennett in the meantime still on the back of A. Thompson, as these two continue to give each other a great scrap here, and they're so evenly matched, these two, A. Thompson and Bennett, driving the same car, probably using similar setups, or maybe they go opposite ways, because potentially they could have different driving styles. It's difficult to know when you're outside the car, but yeah, these two just so even. There's nothing really separating them in terms of their overall skill level, and right now it's being shown at the moment. A. Thompson has done 12 laps on his medium tyres, Bennett's done 13 on his, so Bennett's tyres are a little bit older, but they'll both need to come into the pits pretty soon, I would imagine. They'll probably long it out for another couple of laps. I imagine everyone will try and go to about lap 22, 23, and then stick a set of softs on and go to the end, you would think. I reckon we'll be seeing Bennett in on lap 22, and A. Thompson will be seeing on lap 23. They obviously can't come in on the same lap because they are teammates, so they probably need to be discussing this one in their party chat, if they are in a party chat. I imagine those two are probably in a party chat, and then you've got the other guys in their party chat, because obviously I know that these two are good mates. They're racing quite a few leagues together, but there's 7/10 of a second currently separating these two as they continue to fight it out here on lap 21 of 33 here for the Spanish Grand Prix at the MRL Racing League. Drivers who are in this race, if you enjoy watching this back afterwards, please, I would always say, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the Motive Racing channel if you haven't already, if you want to see more content like this. We're streaming multiple leagues throughout the week. If you're watching this, if you want your league to be streamed, if you want some comms on your league, then by all means give me a shout. If my schedule's free, then I'll be more than happy to do so. I commentate now on, I think it's 11 different leagues I commentate on now. Not 11 different leagues as in Discord servers, but 11 different events I commentate on. I commentate 5 nights a week, sometimes 2, sometimes 3 events per night. And obviously we stream it all to this Motive Racing channel, so anybody would like us to stream it to this channel, give you a little bit of air time, allow you to be able to enjoy the races back afterwards. Then let us know as we see Bennett coming into the pits at the end of lap 21, so he's going to put the soft tyres on a 12-lap dash to the end of the race. A. Thompson staying out for now, he'll be coming in, I imagine, at the end of this lap. However, with A. Thompson continuing to do the business out the front, 3.5 seconds is his gap at the moment over Ginaldi, as Bennett is just coming on the exit of the pits now. So out he comes and into turn 1. There he goes. A. Thompson's got a 3.5 second gap at the moment out the front here over Ginaldi. Ginaldi just closed that gap a little bit coming through the first sector, but at this point it's looking like it's very much a battle between A. Thompson and Bennett for the win. Mr. Ville's just picked up a 3-second time penalty there for track limits, so he's obviously been ignoring those warnings and thinking, nope, I know better than you guys, I'm going to just carry on cutting these corners. And obviously the stewards just said, nope, sorry, you've had your fun, now you're going to get a penalty. But Bautista's currently within 2 seconds of Joe Bradley, and at the moment Bennett is, let's see, he's about 20 seconds up on the lead at the moment, obviously with having made his pit stop. I imagine the pit is probably about 20 seconds, so we'll be seeing A. Thompson and Bennett very close, and A. Thompson is now coming in. That's the big news here. A. Thompson now coming in to make his pit stop, and where's he going to come out in relation to his rival for this race, when it's Ginaldi temporarily takes the lead of this race. In fact, Ginaldi, I wonder if he's going to try and go to the end. GGJ, I've forgotten about him. He is now in second place. And GGJ, I wonder if he's planning on going to the end from here. He could potentially be going to the end. Joe Bradley's definitely got to pit again. Ginaldi's almost certainly got to pit again as well. So let's see, Bennett and A. Thompson are 15 seconds behind Ginaldi. They're 10 seconds behind GGJ. They're 5 seconds behind Joe Bradley. So even if the guys in front of them don't pit, they're going to have very worn out tyres. You would expect Bennett and A. Thompson to have the pace on them coming into the end of the race. Bennett's tyres will be starting to go off a bit at the end. A. Thompson's will start to go off in the last couple of laps. Now they should be alright, 11-12 laps on the softs, and you should just be able to just about scrape them home. But these two currently running together again. Now the question is, are they going to race, or are they going to work together and try and catch up to the guys ahead? As we see A. Thompson DRS there, got a bit wide out of turn 8, but you can't quite get the move done into turn 9 there, and Bennett still holding on to what I think should be the net lead of this race. But never say never, because I tell you what, Ginaldi is pushing out the front. GGJ can definitely go to the end on those hard tyres. Joe Bradley realistically will need to pit again, but is he going to? That is the question that we're going to find out over the course of the next few minutes here. But the two McLarens coming out of the last corner, and it's now A. Thompson very close to the back of Bennett, and he's going to put out a massive stream here. A. Thompson goes for the position here and moves himself into 4th place. These two are obviously good to go to the end of the race. We believe the guys up ahead of them have got a pit, so these two should be battling over the lead come the end of the race, but we'll have to wait and see. But A. Thompson now into 4th place here in this race. Ginaldi has got a 14-second gap to A. Thompson and Bennett at this point. GGJ's 9 seconds ahead of them, and Joe Bradley is only 2 seconds ahead of them. So these two absolutely reeling in Joe Bradley like no tomorrow, as Bautista's got ahead of Jake Gaming up into 6th place. So good stuff there from Bautista up into P6. But A. Thompson and Bennett will be coming up on Jake Bradley very, very shortly, so they'll be right up his trumpet in a few moments' time. And I imagine that Joe Bradley won't make it too hard for these two, with the fact that they are battling for the race win, and Joe Bradley certainly isn't. Whether or not he's going to try and go to the end from here is up to him, but he's not in this battle for the win. JD into the pits here at the end of lap 24. He's forgotten man in this race, unfortunately, due to a couple of spins and a few skirmishes at the start. He's on his way out of the pits now, and he's just coming out in front of Alpha, which is Ginaldi, the race leader. Obviously Ginaldi on 12 holds medium tyres. He could easily go to the end from here, you know. He might just be able to get those mediums to go 21 laps, but the thing is that A. Thompson and Bennett are now, they're only about 12-13 seconds behind him. They're gaining about a second and a half a lap. Actually, it could be close. It could be close. Ginaldi can keep this pace up. It could be very close to the end, because those soft tyres for A. Thompson and Bennett will be hanging on for the last 2 or 3 laps. So I'll tell you what, if they haven't got onto him by then, we could be seeing Ginaldi maybe having a bit of a second wind in relation to those two. But they are absolutely coming at Ginaldi and GGJ. A. Thompson and Bennett pushing on, and A. Thompson's actually opened up a second of a gap here to Bennett, so he's got himself out of that DRS threat, which will be giving him that bit of peace of mind. But by the time we get up to the other guys, Ginaldi and GTJ, I reckon A. Thompson will probably be falling back into the clutches of Bennett again. But again, we'll just have to see how this unfolds. Lap 25 with 33, this is turning into a fascinating strategic race. We don't know what's going to happen here. This is really unpredictable at this point. This could go either way. Is it going to be A. Thompson or Bennett? Or is Ginaldi going to make these medium tyres last all the way to the flag? GGJ on the hard tyres, still doing a good job. And he's still got 7 seconds back to A. Thompson. So A. Thompson isn't gaining hand over fist on him. He is definitely gaining on him though. I mean, there's no question. He's gaining about 1.5 seconds a lap. So I think A. Thompson and Bennett will catch up to GGJ, and they should, on paper, catch up to Ginaldi. But it's still on the cards. Ginaldi could win this race in this one tonight. We're on the 8th to last lap of the race, and he's got an 11-second gap, so the gap came down by another couple of seconds on that lap. But that deficit that the hards and the mediums have to the soft will be less and less lap after lap, because the softs wear out so much quicker than the mediums and the hards. So that deficit will be getting less and less, and the amount that A. Thompson and Bennett will be gaining on these two will be less and less. They are still gaining, obviously, because they got fresher and faster tyres. They're still going to be gaining time on them, but the amount that they're gaining will be less and less. JD has crashed out of the race. Don't be a safety car, please. Oh, for God's sake. tussle's really going on. It's just this one for the leader. Bennett's wide. Oh, Bennett's gone off. Keep it together, keep it together. Oh, no, he's lost his front wing. And Bennett there loses it. He bends it into the opposite wall. And that's going to ruin his chances of taking the win here. GGJ continues on, and Bennett has to be careful there. Very sensibly puts the brakes on and avoids being caught up in oncoming traffic there. That's given Batista second place. It's given Joe Bradley a podium out of nowhere here. And Ginaldi into fourth. Bennett, though, has lost his chance of taking a win. He's going to lose valuable points there with that all or nothing. Very sensibly puts the brakes on and avoids being caught up in oncoming traffic there. That's given Batista second place. It's given Joe Bradley a podium out of nowhere here. And Ginaldi into fourth. Bennett, though, has lost his chance of taking a win. He's going to lose valuable points there with that all or nothing. Very sensibly puts the brakes on and avoids being caught up in oncoming traffic there. That's given Batista second place. It's given Joe Bradley a podium out of nowhere here. Audio check 1, 2, 3. Audio check 1, 2, 3. Welcome back, everybody. We are here for the second race of the evening for the MRL Racing League here on a Saturday night on the Codemasters Formula 1 game here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 platforms. We've got a couple more drivers here for this second race. We've got 14 on the grid. That'll do. That's enough for this second race, the Brazilian Grand Prix. We had the Spanish Grand Prix a few moments ago. These drivers have jumped in their rocket ships. We have flown to the other side of the world, to South America, and we are racing here at Interlagos, the home of the British Grand, Brazilian Grand Prix, the Brazilian Grand Prix, the birthplace of the famous Ayrton Senna, obviously. And it's currently A. Thompson currently setting the pace here in this qualifying session on a 107.9. He had a impressive race in the first race, but unfortunately for him, it went a bit to pot at the end. We saw Bennett obviously fighting it out for the win as well towards the end of the race, but unfortunately they both crashed out in the closing laps of the race. Bennett was having a fight with GGJ, which went all the way down to the penultimate lap, and then unfortunately he lost it, and then GGJ ended up losing the race win, somewhat remarkably. Actually ended up losing it on the penalties, which was rather bizarre. So yeah, he in the end was unable to take that win which he got on the track, and ended up finishing second on the penalties. But nonetheless, I'm sure we're in for much of the same here in this second race. We've got A. Thompson setting the pace, but Danny Dillon in second, 3 tenths behind. Bennett has done his fastest lap on the medium tyres, so he's only half a second off of A. Thompson's fastest time, and A. Thompson did his on the soft. Bennett's done his on the medium, so Bennett's on some very good pace here around Interlagos so far. You've got Jake Gaming currently in fourth. F1 Stomper will be looking to have a better race in this one than he did at Spain. He crashed out on the first lap at Spain, so he'll be looking to try and make amends here in this second race. He's already crashed out of this qualifying session though, so not the best start to his comeback here in this one, but he's done a decent lap on the medium tyres, so let's see if how that stands up by the time we get to the end of this qualifying session. We've got JD in P6 with Chrissy currently in 7th at the moment in the pits. Mason Harris has crashed out of the session. He's done it at the time good enough for 8th place at the moment on the medium tyres. We'll see how that changes as this session goes on. We've got Mr. Ville coming into the pits in a moment on the mediums. Joe Bradley's also done a time on the mediums good enough for P10. He's just putting the softs on now, so he clearly thinks that that's not good enough, and he's going out on the red mark faster tyres. Is Joe Bradley. We've got DJ Snarf out there at the moment. Mr. Morello in the pits, newcomer to this race, and Ben Smith has crashed out of the session. Ginaldi currently sat in the pits at the moment then. We see DJ Snarf there going up into P3 with that last lap there, getting within 4 tenths of a second of the pole time, so that's a good lap there from DJ Snarf. He is setting some very strong pace here in this qualifying session. We're still relatively early stages of the qualifying session at the moment for the Brazilian Grand Prix here at the MRL Racing League. As we can see, DJ Snarf coming into the first sector checkpoint. As you can see, there is a stray wheel on the exit of turn 4. Not quite sure why that hasn't been removed, but yeah, that could be a bit of a safety hazard for drivers and potentially spectators if someone runs into it. Nonetheless, it looks like DJ Snarf has backed out of this current lap that he's on. Thompson there just going provisional pole position there by half a second, so he's extended that gap at the top of the leaderboard, and A. Thompson is absolutely flying here tonight at Interlagos. Look at that, he's got quite a sizable advantage here over Danny Din at the moment. Then as we can see, DJ Snarf just coming through the middle sector at the moment. You've got Bennett LCFC coming through the middle sector as well. JD currently in the pits. He's most certainly not going to be improving in there. We've got Joe Bradley also in the pits. Chrissy's just coming through the middle sector at the moment. You've got Mr. Morello on an outlap at the moment. And Janaldi is just coming through the middle sector as well. As we see, A. Thompson is just coming up on some traffic here. DJ Snarf coming over the line. That looks like it was an outlap there for DJ Snarf. He's now on a proper flyer. As we see Bennett coming into the pits here. Closing stage of this qualifying session. Is Bennett going to stick the softs on and go for a pole lap here, as he seems to have done pretty well on the mediums? He's currently P4 on the slower tyre. Is he going to give himself that strategic ace up his sleeve, or is he going to go all out and go for pole position here in this session? We'll find out in the next couple of minutes. But it's A. Thompson, he's still your man on provisional pole. Let's see what DJ Snarf's up to. He's a tenth of a second up through the middle sector, but, well, actually through the first sector, he hasn't hit the middle sector checkpoint yet. But the thing is he is 7/10 of a second off of A. Thompson's pole time, provisional pole time. So he's got work to do if he is going to currently displace him at the top of that leaderboard. And he's just lost a bit of time there through the middle sector, so he's now only a tiny little fraction of a tenth of a second up on his personal best. So he's got to have a very strong final sector here. It's all about what sort of run he got out of the last corner, and now he's coming into the pits. So DJ Snarf doesn't feel his own improvement, and Mr. Morello has just gone into P3. So Mr. Morello doing a fantastic lap there, gets himself within half a second of A. Thompson's provisional pole time. So that is a very good lap indeed there from Mr. Morello, as he's now 6,000ths of a second up through the first sector, should I say. That is some scorching pace there from Mr. Morello. As we see double wave yellow flags through sector 3, we're not exactly sure what those are in aid of at this particular point, as we've got Danny Din currently on an outlap at this stage. A. Thompson in the pits, DJ Snarf and Bennett both in the pits, but Bennett has put the soft tyres on, so he'll be able to go a little bit quicker at the end of this session. Can he put himself on provisional pole ahead of A. Thompson? That's the question. I'm sure that they'll be going for it. There's only 8/10 off on the mediums, so with the faster tyre, maybe Bennett could take a second off of his fastest time so far. We'll have to see. But we've got JD currently 4/10 down on his personal best in the middle sector, so this isn't going to be an improvement for him. Joe Bradley 2/10 up on his personal best through the first sector. Let's ride with Joe Bradley here as he's coming through the middle part of the lap. You want to attack those, you want to really attack those curbs there on the inside. You can gain you a lap time. They're quite flat, so there's not really too much risk involved as he comes up through towards Zhang Sao and up the hill now towards the start finish line. And Joe Bradley, we know he's on a bit of a quick one so far. This is going to be an improvement, but how much of an improvement is it going to be as he comes up towards the line? It's a big improvement. I'll tell you what, he improves by a lot. He gets himself to within 7/10 of a second of the provisional pole time being set by A. Thompson. So Joe Bradley smashed it out of the park there. Danny Din's on a flyer. He's currently just under 2/10 up on his personal best coming through the first sector. So we'll ride with him through this middle sector as he's taking even more curb than Joe was there coming through that bit. I tell you what, he's taking a bit too much there. I think he looks like he took that a little bit slower than he would like to there. Here he comes through Pinaraniel and up through Maguho and then in towards Zhang Sao here on this latest flying run of his. And yeah, he did lose 4/10 to that middle sector, so he didn't have the best of runs through there. So it's not going to be an improvement here, as there is a stray wheel just sat on the edge of the track there as you come through that final flat out corner. So something's obviously gone wrong for somebody somewhere out there, and ultimately their session is over. A. Thompson is on an outlap, so he's going to try and protect that pole position lap, which he's currently got as it stands. You've got DJ Snarf on his outlap. He's just starting a flying lap now. Joe Bradley with that fantastic lap hit himself into P5, pushed Bennett down to P6, but Bennett is 2/10 up to the first sector, and we know that Bennett has got time to find here on this flying lap because he's on the soft tyres, which means that he will be able to find quite a bit of pace here in these next couple of runs. He'll get this lap and he'll get another one with the amount of fuel that he's got in the car, so he's got to make this count. As here he comes through the middle sector now. Let's jump on board with Bennett LCFC, the 3-time champion of the OG League on a Wednesday and a Sunday night on the OG server. This man knows what it takes to take championships. He knows what it is to battle it out for podiums. He's 8 tenths up to the middle sector, so Bennett's just got to keep it together for this final corner and run up towards the line. There will be provisional pole here for him. He looked like he got a good run there out of Jung Sao as he comes through the final flat-out kink here and up towards the start and finish line. What is it going to be? Is it going to be provisional pole? It is provisional pole there by a tenth of a second. Bennett LCFC puts himself on top of the charts here. A. Thompson, though, still out there and can still do some damage as he's down in the first sector by the looks of it. So you'll get the lap after this one and that'll be it. A. Thompson's going to have one chance to go P1 here, but he's lost out currently on that pole position to Bennett LCFC as Danny Dillon and Mr. Morello both in the pits, so they're not going to improve in there. I think that probably is a given. But we've got Christie's up into P3. So Christie there's done a decent lap, gets himself to within half a second of Bennett's lap time there. You've got DJ Snarf coming through the first sector, still P6 on the medium tyres, still doing a lap on the medium tyres, maybe trying to improve. Could potentially, if he finds 3 tenths, could end up on the second row on the medium tyres, which will give him a great chance come the race. We've got Joe Bradley in the pits. JD is coming through the middle sector at the moment, and he's got a few corners left to go. Ginaldi is just coming through the first sector at the moment. He's 2 tenths up on his personal best, but his personal best isn't going to really get him anywhere very fast at the moment. Bennett coming into the pits. He's done for the session. A. Thompson is coming through the first sector at the moment. Let's keep an eye on him. But let's flick to JD as he's about to finish his lap. He's down, he's 1.7 seconds down. He's not going to be improvement here. JD comes over the line to finish his qualifying session here, or no, he will get one more lap in, sorry. But A. Thompson on his final run of the session, and he's a tenth of a second up to the first sector. He needs to find just under 2 tenths to take pole position here, so he's already on course to go one better here in this leaderboard and take this pole position here at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix for the MRL Racing League. Here he comes to the middle sector right now. Let's jump on board with A. Thompson in the McLaren as he's wrestling the car through this part of the track. Don't want to tag the curbs too much here. Don't want to risk it all. Here he comes into Junk South. He's 2 tenths up, so he just needs to get a good final corner here. Needs to not overcook it. It looked like he was a little bit cautious there onto the throttle as he's now coming through this flat out section of the track. He needs to time his DRS application well, and he's bang on the button there. Up towards the line comes A. Thompson. Is it going to be pole here for A. Thompson? It is pole position. He takes it by just over a tenth of a second. A. Thompson is your man on top here in Interlagos for qualifying ahead of Bennett LCFC. What is JD going to do here on his final run? He's 2 tenths up on his personal best, so he could potentially be about to dip into the 107s or maybe into the top 5 here in this qualifying session. Up towards the line comes JD, and he did improve up to P6 there, so a good lap there from JD. But A. Thompson will be starting this one on pole position here for the Brazilian Grand Prix here on the Motive Racing channel for the MRL Racing League. A great job there from A. Thompson, managing to snatch it from the grasp of Bennett right at the death. So it's A. Thompson on pole, ahead of Bennett in second, Christian up third, ahead of Danny Din in P4. But guys, this is going to be a great race. If you're one of the drivers watching this back afterwards, please guys, drop a like on the video. It helps us out more than you know. It really does. If you want to get involved in Motive's F1 League, then head over to www.motiveracing.com, join the Discord, join our Discord, and obviously we commentate on multiple leagues throughout the week here, on many different leagues. We commentate on this one here, obviously the MRL League. We're going to be doing our first comms on Indigo tomorrow night, as well as the OG League later on in the evening. Monday we commentate on the Realistic OG League. We've also got Tuesday we were going to do Purple Sector, but I'm working the late shift nowadays on Tuesday, so unfortunately Purple Sector's had to go on the back burner for the time being, but we're still very much in that camp. Thursdays we're racing at Simplay, so we can't do that. Friday we are doing Motive F1 League alongside the Dynamic OG League, so we've got a busy schedule, we've got a busy week here in the Motive channel, but we do what we can and we get around if we possibly can. But guys, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we're about to go racing here for the second race, the final race of the evening here for the Brazilian Grand Prix here at the MRL Racing League. Audio check. Audio check. Here we are then, guys, lining up on the grid, getting ready to go racing here at the MRL Racing League. The final time this evening, we will be about to go lights out here for the Brazilian Grand Prix as the last car's just pulling up there. Ben Smith there at the back of the grid. It's good to see Ben Smith racing here tonight. Races with us throughout a lot of the leagues that we commentate on and broadcast here to the channel throughout the week. But here we are then, the lights are about to come on. You'll hear the engine res rise and then they'll go deadly silent for just a second before the lights go out and we'll be officially underway here. The lights are now about to come on here at the forefront of the grid. A. Thompson on the left hand side of your screen. Bennett has switched cars for this second race. Wasn't in the McLaren for the first race, he's now in the Aston Martin, so that's an interesting one. But here we are then, lights should be coming on in a minute. They don't appear to be on just yet. I'm not quite sure why. Well, lights out anyway. A. Thompson there seems to get slightly bogged down. Bennett looking to the inside. Is he going to send one here? Bennett down the inside into turn one and gets himself into the lead of the race. So Bennett immediately taking the ascendancy here over A. Thompson. A. Thompson's got to watch out because Chris is looking down the inside here of turn three. As we look in the background, Jake Gaming is out of the race already. Somebody's crawling over the runoff there as Ginaldi gets knocked down. Oh, Joe Bradley's lost it there coming on next to the turn three. Joe Bradley dropping down to the back of the pack, so nightmare of a start for him. Bennett the lead ahead of A. Thompson. You've got Chrissy there ahead of Danny Din, followed by JD ahead of Mr. Romano. Then you've got Mr. Mason Harry ahead of Ben Smith, followed by Mr. Veal. You've got F1 Stomper ahead of Ginaldi, DJ Snob and Joe Bradley at the back. Jake Gaming has left the session after that crash there, which has knocked him out of the race. What a shame, what a disastrous race for him there. It's over before it's even really started. But Bennett, A. Thompson, Chrissy and Danny Din the top four ahead of JD. You've got Mr. Morello, there's Mason Harris there running in mid-pack ahead of Ben Smith. You've got Mr. Veal ahead of F1 Stomper, followed by Ginaldi there in 11th place. DJ Snarf and Joe Bradley running a long way behind there in P13 in this race. A. Thompson though hassling the back of Chrissy as they come up the hill towards the start finish line to complete the first lap. He's looking to the outside here. He's going to try and use that side drop as you know he's going to duck back in for the slipstream. Is he going to look to the inside here into turn one? Chrissy's going to defend the inside line. A. Thompson has to get it around the long way. He's looking to try and break late, but he can't do it there. As Mr. Morello and Mason Harris battling it out here, coming through the S's. Mr. Morello manages to squeeze around the outside there. Mr. Mason Harris. Oh, Mason Harris scored over the glass. Oh no! Mason Harris lost Taylor there on the inside of the corner, and he's spun around. And as he caught somebody there, it looks like they all squeezed through there somehow. Mason Harris dropping down to 12th place. Joe Bradley in the pits at the end of the first lap, and Mason Harris is in all sorts of problems here, down to P12 at the early stages of this race. As A. Thompson's looking to try and get something done here with Chrissy, and Ben Smith is on the back of Mr. Morello here on lap 2 of this race. But what a massive shame there for Mason Harris, as he's now got to hope that there's a safety car in this race to bring himself back into this one, as A. Thompson's on the back of Chrissy at the moment. But Bennett at the front is just breaking away. He's got a 2-second gap over these guys, and Bennett here looking to be in cruise control of this race. You've got Chrissy there running in second place ahead of A. Thompson. Danny Din there on the back of these. Bit of a gap back to JD ahead of Mr. Morello, followed by Ben Smith. You've got Mr. Veal ahead of F1 Stomper. Ginaldi there running in 10th place ahead of DJ Snarf. You've got Mason Harris and Joe Bradley a long way behind, having made that impromptu pit stop. But Bennett though, fastest lap of the race, the man to beat at the moment. A. Thompson looking all over the back of Chrissy into turn one. Can't make anything happen there. Mr. Morello has made the move on JD up into turn one, so he's got himself up into 5th place there, as F1 Stomper has made the move on Mr. Veal, as Mr. Veal looks like he's just trying to get the cut back here on the exit of the S's. And A. Thompson's round. A. Thompson's lost it coming to the S's as he just crawls back onto the track there in the path of DJ Snarf and Ginaldi, but manages to keep out of their way. But A. Thompson's had a mare there as Mr. Veal was looking to try and get the cut back on F1 Stomper. And Ben Smith has had a spin coming on the exit of turn 4, and he's going to have to wait for now everyone's to come past as A. Thompson has retired from the race. In fact, he's crashed. A. Thompson crashed trying to avoid Ben Smith, and we've got a VSC here on lap 3. Carnage at the start of this race. We've lost 2 drivers already. We're down to 12 here from 14 starters. VSC is out. Bennett has a 6-second lead at the front. He has got away scot-free at the start of this one. Chrissy there running in 2nd ahead of Danny Din. Mr. Morello there running in 4th place ahead of JD, who's in 5th at the moment. You've got F1 Stomper there in P6 ahead of Mr. Veal. DJ Staff running in 8th ahead of Ginaldi, who's 9th at the moment. Ben Smith in P10 after that nightmare on the 2nd lap. And Chrissy is out of the race. I didn't see what happened there to Chrissy. Let's jump on. Oh, he's just crashed. He's just stacked it. Coming in the same place where Alonso and Weber had the crash back in 03. So we have got a safety car here in the early stages of the Brazilian Grand Prix for the MRL Racing League. Final race of this evening. Oh. Radio check 1, 2, 3. Here we are then, guys. We're about to go racing once again. Safety car peeling in. We've got Danny Din leading us up towards the line. Mr. Morello just behind him, ahead of JD. You've got F1 Stomper there, right on the back of these guys, with Mr. Veal there in fifth, ahead of DJ Snuff, Jen Audi, Bennett, and Ben Smith at the back. And we're racing once again. And F1 Stomper's got the jump here on JD up into turn one. DJ Snuff has got is looking around the outside. Bennett trying to make this move here. Bennett's got the move done around the outside of DJ Snuff there, up into sixth place. He's now focusing attention on Mr. Veal, as we can see double yellow flags through sector one. Not quite sure why nobody's crashed, but Bennett looking to the inside of Mr. Veal. He's going to send one in towards turn four, and he gets that done brilliantly there. Does Bennett LCFC up into fifth place. We go trackside. We can see Mr. Veal now coming under pressure from DJ Snuff, and DJ Snuff follows Bennett through there up into sixth place. In the meantime, Jan Audi's now on the back of Mr. Veal as well, as Ben Smith has dropped off the back of him a little bit on this restart. Danny Din leads though ahead of Mr. Morello. You've got F1 Stomper there, right on the back of these two as well. JD, Bennett, DJ Snuff, Mr. Veal, and Jan Audi. It's an 8-car train at the moment, which Ben Smith has fallen off with him a little bit on this restart. But Danny Din trying to break away a little bit here. He's trying to build up a bit of a gap, and he's got nearly 8 tenths here. He's got almost a second ahead of Mr. Morello at this point as they're coming to the final sector of this lap. And Ben Smith really seems to be struggling at the moment for whatever reason. Not sure what's going on with him at this point, but riding on with the rear wing of Danny Din. He's just ahead of Mr. Morello at the moment. Mr. Morello has got F1 Stomper pretty close. No DRS this time. Bennett though looking to try and make the move on JD. DRS is not going to be enabled, but Bennett doesn't care about that. He's going to go for it on pure grunt, and he gets tagged around by JD. Oh, no. JD maybe, I don't know if he was entitled to some space. I think maybe it was a bit aggressive from JD, it was a bit hopeful there to think that he could stick a nose up the inside. Bennett seems to have got through it, as Bennett having a look at the inside of DJ8 there, but couldn't quite make it stick as DJ was just turning into the corner. Bennett there sensibly backing out of that one just in time, looking to the outside here into turn 5, but DJ holding on for the time being there for that fourth place. Ben Smith is in the pits at the end of lap 6, so he's obviously got damage on the car. That'll be why he was dropping off with him hand over fist. But Danny Din leading ahead of Mr. Morello. You've got F1 Stomper there right on the back of these guys. DJ Staff there running in fourth ahead of Bennett. You've got Mr. Veal ahead of JT, followed by Jen Audi. Ben Smith a long way behind here in this race, but the leaders coming through. Jugs out here for the 7th time in this race. Bennett will have the run here on DJ Staff, but well, no DRS just yet, obviously, because we've just been on the safety car, so we have to wait 3 laps until the DRS is enabled. So here we go, being enabled on this lap, as we can see JD in the pits here to get that damage fixed, and Danny Din currently still out the front. F1 Stompers on the back of Mr. Morello here in this battle for second place as they're coming out onto this little back straight, but I think F1 Stompers a little bit too far back to make anything happen there. It will bring them a little bit closer, but not close enough to make anything happen there. Bennett also close on the back of DJ Staff, and Mr. Veal not too far from the back of Bennett. And Audi seems to have lost these guys a bit over the course of this lap so far. He's now dropped by 2 seconds off for the back of the top 6, but the top 6 still going at it here. Danny Din, Mr. Morello, F1 Stomper, DJ Snuff has dropped off by about a second off of the back of the top 3, but he's got Bennett hot on his heels at the moment, and Mr. Veal's dropped off of DJ Snuff and Bennett by about a second as well. So the top 6 now starting to space out a little bit here after this safety car restart, and DRS will be open this time around, so that will benefit Bennett a lot as we're coming up towards the detection point. Actually, this DJ Snuff have DRS on F1 Stomper. If he doesn't, Bennett will be able to breeze around him. Here we go, on board with Bennett. DJ Snuff does have DRS, but Bennett's still going to be making the move anyway. Down the inside we go into turn 1, and Bennett there moving himself up into 4th place, and that's a great move there from Bennett LCFC, and he gets himself up another position. He's now within a second of a podium spot, and F1 Stomper will be next on Bennett LCFC's hit list here in this race, as we're a quarter of the way into this one for the final race of the evening. Danny Din's got a 2/10 of a second gap, and Mr. Morello is really pushing him at the moment. Stomper there in 3rd ahead of Bennett. You've got DJ Snuff, Mr. Veal has dropped off at the back of these guys a bit. You've got Jan Audi there running in 7th place, JD there running in 8th. You've got Ben Smith there 9th at the moment, just on the fast step of the race on fresh soft tyres, but he's a long way behind. He needs a safety car to bring himself into this one. Bennett just about within the DRS here of F1 Stomper. Can he get a good exit out of the last corner? He does get a lovely exit, and that will give him that impetus here. He'll obviously get the DRS piece within 8 tenths, so it'll bring him that little bit closer. He's not close enough to make a move at the moment. 7 tenths won't bring him to within striking distance of a pass, but it'll get him just that little bit closer. As Mr. Morello has made the move on Danny Din. So Mr. Morello now into P1 in this race. We missed that on the actual screen, but we see it on the timing board. But Danny Din's now going to try and come back at him here, up towards turn 4. No, he's too far back. Mr. Morello has got the straight line speed there. Bennett there on the back of F1 Stomper, still can't get it done. A couple of seconds back to DJ Snarf. You've got Mr. Veal there ahead of Ginaldi. JD and Ben Smith are battling it out for 8th places. Ben Smith has got DRS here. He's going to look to the inside. JD leaves the door open, and Ben Smith swoops up the inside there into 8th place. Easily there for Ben Smith, as F1 Stomper has got a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. Danny Din on the back of Mr. Morello, but F1 Stomper there falling back into the clutches of Bennett, and Bennett's broken away a bit from DJ Snarf. And in fact, both Stomper and Bennett have broken away from DJ Snarf over the last couple of laps. Bennett's now trying to throw the kitchen sink here at F1 Stomper. He got a great exit out of this corner on the previous lap, and he's done it again here. And I tell you what, F1 Stomper's out of DRS here on Danny Din, so Bennett could be in for a bit of a breeze past here. Down the start, finish straight they come. DRS open for Bennett. He's going to look to the inside. F1 Stomper knows it's happening and doesn't do much to stop it. Bennett there up the inside into 3rd place, onto the podium, and continuing to make some impressive gains here in this race. Danny Din still trying to get that lead back off of Mr. Morello, but Mr. Morello has been holding his own over the last couple of laps, and it's been a good drive from both of these two as they're putting on a bit of a show at the front. But Bennett is going to be coming after them like a hitman, going after his bounty here, as we've got currently DJ Snarf now a couple of seconds behind Stomper. You've got Mr. Veal a second and a half further back there in 6th place. You've got Ginaldi there a couple of seconds off to the back of Mr. Veal. Ben Smith has pulled out 3 seconds to JD since getting ahead of him a few laps ago, but obviously we know that Ben Smith has really shot himself in the foot with this race. He needs a safety car to bring himself back into this one. F1 Stomper's currently on the back of Bennett, as these two still continue to battle out for the podium spots. F1 Stomper's not lost Bennett. He's not completely fallen out of touch despite being passed by him on the previous lap. Let's see what sort of an exit he can get out of this final corner. Bennett seems to have the better exits out of the slower corners. He seems to be very good for traction in that Aston Martin. F1 Stomper will get the DRS, but Bennett, crucially, gets the DRS on Danny Din. So F1 Stomper not able to really make too many gains here on Bennett coming into turn 1. Bennett, though, dropped out of that second range to Danny Din. That might give F1 Stomper a chance. No, Bennett is back within that second range as it comes through out towards the back straight, so he'll get that closing speed once again, and Stomper not really able to do too much at this point, but this is quickly turning into a 4-way battle for the lead here. Mr. Morello, Danny Din, Bennett and F1 Stomper putting on a hell of a show here out the front as we're a third of the way into this race. Lap 12 and 36 here at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix for the MRL Racing League here on a Saturday night. Don't usually stream on a Saturday night here at Motive, but tonight we're doing it because we can, basically. But right now Mr. Morello leads this train of 4 cars battling out over the lead here in this race, and it's been an exciting race so far, to say the least. Mr. Veal's got ahead of DJ Snarf. In fact, DJ Snarf's dropping back. What's happened to DJ Snarf here? DJ Snarf has just lost out. He's lost out to Mr. Veal and Ginaldi, and he's down to P7, so he must have had a bit of an incident coming out of the final corner. I'd imagine he's coming into the pits for damage repairs, so DJ Snarf there has got to hope for a safety car in this race, otherwise he's not going to get very far in this one. Bennett on the back of Danny Din, looking down the inside into turn 4. He's made the move there as Bennett up into P2. Great move there as Sir Stomper's now on the back of Danny Din here as well. Mr. Morello now very much in the sights of Bennett LCFC as Mr. Stomper's trying to throw the kitchen sink at Danny Din here. Ben Smith up into P7 with DJ Snarf in the pits, and here goes F1 Stomper as Danny Din leaves him the space on the inside, and he's now got the outside for this next corner. That will turn to the inside for the right-hander, and F1 Stomper there has played himself into the podium spots there. Brilliant move from F1 Stomper up into 3rd place. Can Danny Din come back at him coming through the final sector? He might be able to get the DRS here, will Danny Din, and that will give him a run down the start-finish straight as these two are dropping off of Bennett. The question is Stomper going to get DRS on Bennett? If he does, he'll be able to use that to defend from Danny Din. And yes, he is going to get DRS off of Bennett. Bennett, in the meantime, within half a second of Mr. Morello on board with the Aston Martin driver, the 3-time champion of the OG League here on a Wednesday and Sunday. Here he comes into turn 1. He's going to be right up his chuff as they come out of the S's. Here we go. Bennett there getting a good launch out of the corner, and the DRS will be opened in a moment's time as he uses all of his DRS there to try and get himself in striking distance. Here we go. Bennett now looking to make the move here. Looking down the inside into turn 4, he's going to have the inside, but Mr. Morello holding it around the outside with that preferred line. Bennett, though, is going to stick it up the inside there for the second part of the corner, and Bennett on the medium tyres is up into the lead here. So great move there from Bennett LCFC. He will need to pit again. He'll have to put the soft tyres on for the final stint. Mr. Morello's done 13 laps on those soft tyres. They're going to be wearing off a little bit now, but Bennett has the lead of this race, and he's done that absolutely superbly. He's chased after everybody. He's cut his way through this pack like a hot knife through butter tonight in this one, and JD has got a 3-second time penalty there for multiple track limit warnings. But Bennett LCFC now with the ascendancy, and he's absolutely flying out there right now. Great stuff there from Bennett. As we can see, Mr. Veal 6 seconds off for the back of this four-way battle for the lead. You got Janaldi there just behind ahead of Ben Smith, who's running in P7. DJ Snuff there in 8th ahead of JD, who's running in P9, currently on course for 2 championship points in this race. Bennett, though, has got Mr. Morello weaving around there in the background. F1 Stomper ahead of Danny Din, and this is a race that is absolutely heating up here tonight at Interlagos. Great stuff from all these drivers here, as Bennett has got Mr. Morello hot in his heels here as he's looking to try and move a little bit too far back coming into turn 4. Bennett's just going to hold on. Turn 4 came just in time there for Bennett. Mr. Morello trying to come back at him, but he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, Mr. Morello's got a 3-second time penalty, and so has Stomper, to be fair. We didn't actually see that one as it came up on the screen, but Mr. Morello and Stomper have got a 3-second time penalty each, which is only going to benefit Bennett, and he's going to be sat there thinking, well, I've got a bit of security now. I've got a bit of assurance. As Mr. Morello very loose there coming out of that corner. He manages to hold on ahead of F1 Stomper for the time being. Danny Din waiting in the wings, knows the 2 guys ahead of him have got penalties, but also knows that the more time he spends behind them, the more time he's going to lose to Bennett in this race. So he will be wanting to clear them as quickly as he possibly can. As we're coming round to complete lap 15, it'll be a bit of a DRS train here. Did Mr. Morello get DRS on Bennett? That's the thing. I think he didn't, but the thing is, Stomper's coming into the pit, so it's all right there. Well, Mr. Morello did get DRS on Bennett. He did, because he closed the gap a bit by 4/10 coming down the start-finish straight. Nonetheless, we come out of the S's here, and it's Bennett from Mr. Morello from Danny Din. As we can see, Stomper there is just coming to the end of the pit lane now. He's been passed by Mr. Veal. Jan Audi obviously up into 5th place. Ben Smith is coming down the start-finish straight, so Stomper will come out ahead of Ben Smith, but behind Mr. Veal and Janaldi, and it's still a heated battle for this race win here between Bennett, Mr. Morello, Danny Din, and F1 Stomper, definitely still in that battle as well. But Bennett has got to be in the box seat as he's still got a soft stint to go in this one, whereas the others have got to put the mediums on for the remainder of this race. So Bennett's certainly in the prime position here to take a win here at Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix at the MRL Racing League here on the Codemasters Formula 1 game on a Saturday night here on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. As Janaldi's on the back of Mr. Veal here. Look at this, he's looking around the outside of Magujo, and he gets that move done into young Shalwell. Oh, Mr. Veal's had a moment. Mr. Veal's just had to reset the car. I don't know what happened there, but he's back on track and away again. Mr. Morello and Danny Din both in the pits here at the end of lap 16, and Bennett continuing on his way out the front in this race. He's currently doing everything right here in this one so far. Danny Din and Mr. Morello will put in the medium tyres on and will be good to go to the end of the race from here, you would imagine, at this stage. And where are they going to come out in relation to F1 Stomper? That's the big thing here. Mr. F1 Stomper just coming out here. So actually F1 Stomper has played a blinder in the strategy here. He has come out ahead of Mr. Morello and Danny Din, and he's not just slightly ahead of them either. He is miles ahead of them. So F1 Stomper has gained 5 seconds over those two in the pits. A couple of laps on fresh hard tyres have done the trick here. F1 Stomper has blitzed it out there. Great stuff from F1 Stomper. And he's in a great position here to make something happen here in this race. What's his gap to Bennett? He's currently 19 seconds behind Bennett as Ben Smith has made the move on Mr. Morello. So Mr. Morello, oh, he's missing a front wing. Mr. Morello is missing a front wing, so that's only going to shoot him in the foot in his quest to try and win this race. that has gone a disaster there for Mr. Morello, and he's going to need to come in and get that replaced, and his only hope now is that we have a safety car in this one. That has gone horribly pear-shaped there for him. But the big news here is that F1 Stomper has gained a lot of ground in the pits over Danny Din and Mr. Morello, and obviously Bennett as well, as F1 Stomper pretty close on the back of Mr. Veal here in this battle for P3 in the race. Bennett out the front has got 13 seconds over Ginaldi at this point. F1 Stomper though trying to get something done here with Mr. Veal as they're coming now down towards turn 4. He's around the outside, easily done there for F1 Stomper. Obviously he knows that he's on a different strategy there. Mr. Veal didn't make that too difficult for him, as we see Mr. Morello still in the pits, getting that front wing repaired. That's gone horribly wrong there for him, as we can see Bennett still leading this race. When's Bennett going to come in and put the soft tyres on? He's probably going to leave it, I'd say, until probably about lap 20, 21, then put the soft tyres on and go to the end. You'd imagine that's probably going to be his strategy at this point. But he's coming around here to complete lap 18, nonetheless half distance here for this Brazilian Grand Prix. Obviously the second half of the race always goes a bit quicker than the first because the fuel loads are considerably lighter. Ben Smith here currently within 2 seconds of Danny Din, but Danny Din haven't got that done, is now clearing away and pulling away a bit from Ben at this stage, as Mr. Veal into the pits to make a pit stop here. So Mr. Veal, yep, in he comes, and that obviously pushes Danny Din up into P4, but F1 Stomper's pulling away from Danny Din, and looks like he's got the pace over him at this point. F1 Stomper probably going to be Bennett's main rival for this race win, with Danny Din falling away, and obviously Mr. Morello having that front wing loss. Didn't see what happened to him that caused the loss of front wing, but he's obviously lost his chance of taking a win here. Mr. Veal though on the back of JD here, he's looking to try and bring himself into that fight for 6th place. You got Ben Smith on the back of these at the moment as well. This is for 6th, 7th and 8th places, and you see Ben Smith there trying to just put the power down a little bit aggressively. He knows that he's got 2 guys in front of him who he could probably clear here. Looking around the outside of Maguho there on Mr. Veal here in towards Yon Chow. Has he got that done there? I think he has. Ben Smith around the outside up into 7th place. Can now focus on JD up ahead of him. And off DRS here coming out of the final corner. Here we go. Here goes Ben Smith now. That rear wing will be wide open. He's going to absolutely breeze past him here. JD there's going to have to leave the door open, I think, as Ben Smith there swoops down the inside and up into 6th place there. Good move from Ben Smith, gaining a position. He's gained 2 places in the space of basically half a lap. So Ben Smith on a bit of a charge right now. You want to pull away from them as quickly as you can to break that DRS for the next run down the start-finish straight. But the gap between F1 Stomper and Danny Din continuing to go up. Bennett obviously still got a pit. When is he going to come in? He's staying out for now. I reckon he'll be in this lap. I reckon into this lap we'll see Bennett coming in. And nonetheless, he's sticking with it for the time being. It's going to be interesting to see who is going to come out on top between Bennett and F1 Stomper. Obviously, those two quite close in terms of strategy and pace overall at the moment, so it's going to be tight. Also, I want to say thank you to the 9 people currently watching the stream at the moment. Guys, if you like what you see, please drop a like on the video. It helps us out an enormous amount. Can we get it to 10 likes before we get off air? Maybe 20 or 30 likes by the time it's all said and done. Obviously, some of the drivers will be watching this back afterwards, but can we get it to 10 likes before the end of the stream? That would be absolutely amazing. Guys, smash that like button. It helps us out more than you know, as JD's got ahead of Mr. Veal here up into 7th place. Round the outside down the start finish straight. Is Mr. Veal going to come back at him? No, come into turn 1. He's just a little bit too far back to send one back on JD there, as these two having a good little scrap here for 7th place. But they're dropping off at the back of Ben Smith, who cleared them a few laps ago and is now driving off into the sunset, as we can see Mr. Veal here with DRS down this little straight in towards turn 4. He's going to send one down the inside as JD holds it around the outside there. Mr. Veal thinks better of that one, backs out of it at the last second there. Thought of it, thought better of it in the end. Now looking towards the outside here into turn 5, but JD's got that inside line and is covering off any eventualities just there. Stomper currently on the back of Ginaldi here, battling out over 2nd place. DRS open here for F1 Stomper at the moment. but he's too far away there, and he's nothing doing there as they come into turn 1. F1 Stomper into P2 here, so he's got ahead of Ginaldi. Obviously on different strategies, Ginaldi still needs to come into the pits to serve his pit stop, but F1 Stomper has done his and is good to go to the end, and some. Really didn't need to put the hard tyres on, he could have probably put the mediums on, they would have been ample treading those to get them to the end. DJ Snarf has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so he's obviously been cutting the track a little bit there. JD even on the back of Mr. Veal here in towards turn 4, a little bit too far back to make anything happen just there. Stomper's already out of DRS on Ginaldi. The gap between Bennett, oh, Stomper wide, very wide, coming out of junk cell. That will give Ginaldi a chance here. You have the momentum and then have DRS as well. The gap half a second, maybe Stomper's got just enough of a gap here as they're coming up down the start finish straight towards turn 1. He survives that scare. That was a close call there, almost a sort of a Verstappen moment in the wet. Some people will remember that incident, but nonetheless, Stomper survives that one. Gap between Bennett and Stomper just under 18 seconds. Bennett still to pit, but he'll be on the soft tyres for the final stint, so he can afford to come out a few seconds behind Stomper. That's not too much of a problem here for Bennett. He should be able to hunt him down as long as he's within about 4 or 5 seconds. He should easily be able to get him by the end, obviously, because he'll be on the fresh soft compared to F1 Stomper, who has done a little way on those hard tyres now. Not a massive stint so far, but he's gone, well, he's done 6 laps so far, so by the end of this race he'll have done 19-20 laps on those tyres, so they will have seen a few, they will have definitely seen a few battle scars by the time we get to the end. But nonetheless, Stomper's got just over a second here to Ginaldi, and Bennett's still yet to come in to make his pit stop, so he's staying out on his mediums as long as he can. He obviously knows that he wants to minimise the amount of laps that he's doing on those soft tyres, because he wants to be able to push them as hard as he can at the end. I wonder if he's trying to make a bit of a race of it here as well. Ginaldi into the pits to make his stop here at the end of lap 23, so in he comes. That puts Danny Din back on the podium here. As we can see, Mr. Morello is out of the race. What a shame, Mr. Morello's crashed out. We've got a VSC but no safety car, which is good because the strategy right now is actually developing quite nicely here. So actually, interestingly, one driver that I've kind of neglected in the speculation stakes right now is Danny Din, because he's only 7 seconds behind Stomper at the moment. He's on the faster tyre, obviously the mediums. Although, having said that, it's probable that Bennett will come out ahead of him, so I can't see Danny Din doing much with Bennett if Bennett's on the fresh soft tyres. But nonetheless, Danny Din could be could be in for a P2. I mean, it could be a P3. You might have to settle for P3. Who knows? But Bennett here, Bennett's just won the lottery here with this VSC, because Bennett now gets to come into the pits with everybody else being limited on speed, and he's going to get a free pit stop here. He sticks a fresh set of boots on, the red mark soft tyres going on to that Aston Martin, and Bennett will rejoin the race in the lead as if nothing has happened. So Bennett out on the pits. There's F1 Stomper coming through turn 1, and F1 Stomper will be seeing that gap. He'll be seeing that Bennett is out and back on the track again, and he will be shaking his head. He will be absolutely fuming with that. But Bennett LCSC maintains track position, and you feel that with the fresh soft, he's just going to drive away in the final part of this race. So Bennett pretty much has got this race signed and sealed as long as he doesn't mess this up. We saw earlier on Bennett was battling for the race win at Spain on the penultimate lap and ended up crashing out. He was in a battle with GGJ PS, but GGJ in the end actually lost the win on the time penalties. He got a time penalty, the game glitched out and it caused him to lose P1, very unfortunately there for him. But he's obviously not here for this one. He had to dip, I think. DJ Snuff in the pits nonetheless here at the end of lap 24. But Bennett coming round the final corner here, and he's got 4 seconds of a gap here to F1 Stomper, and he should have this one done. Bennett should be able to see this one out, barring any major catastrophes in the final 10 laps of this race. Yeah, there shouldn't be any dramas or major disturbances here for him. So we see DJ Staff there into the pits here at the end of lap 25, so he's just trundling through the pit lane now, and we rejoin him there. P8 obviously at the moment, so he'd be on course for 4 championship points as it stands, as Bennett's just done the fastest lap of the race on his fresh soft tyres, so he's flying out the front, showing why he is leading this race, showing why he's been the man to beat over the course of this Brazilian event here. Just noticing there on the timing screen that JD has got a 3-second time penalty there, so he joins F1 Stomper, Ben Smith and DJ Snarf as one of the 4 drivers who have picked up a time penalty over the course of this race. What a massive shame there for him. As Danny Din's now picked up a penalty as well, so 5 drivers now sat on time penalties here. So here we are anyway, lap 31 of 36. So we've got 5 laps left to go here for the Brazilian Grand Prix at the MRL Racing League, the second race of the evening. We obviously had the Spanish Grand Prix a little while ago. This is the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's been a dominant drive from this man Bennett. He was embroiled in a bit of a battle with F1 Stomper, as well as DJ Snarf and Mr. Morello. Mr. Morello crashed out. DJ Snarf fell off a bit. Danny Dim was in there as well for a bit, but fell off through the pit window. F1 Stomper hasn't had the pace in this final stint. Bennett was holding it all back in the first stint on the medium tyres. He stuck a set of softs on, and he has absolutely left him for dead here in the final part of this race. It's been a truly superb job from Bennett LCFC. Back to the Bennett that I knew back when we first started streaming the OG League, back when it was in AXL in the early days. That was obviously where a lot of this F1 PlayStation scene started for a lot of these guys. But yeah, Bennett absolutely smashing it at the moment. It's got 4 laps left to go. Race just dulling down a bit at this point. It's not really a whole lot occurring at this moment in time, but nonetheless, it's yeah, no, it's still, we've had some good action tonight. It's just kind of like started to calm down a bit over the last few laps since the pits. Really, it's kind of just died down a bit. The battle at the front was very engaging in the early stages. I'm noticing on the timing board that Danny Din's closing a bit on F1 Stomper. They're both on worn tyres. Danny Din on the medium, so his tyres will wear out quicker, but they might not wear out before we get to the end of the race. He'll have to do 18 laps on them all told. Danny Din obviously on the faster tyre compared to F1 Stomper on the hards. I said earlier on, Danny Din could be a shout for second place here in this race if F1 Stomper's hards are losing too much pace, but at this point it seems like he's got enough of a cushion as F1 Stomper. Seems like he's safe in that second spot. DJ Snarf's pulling up on the back of JD right now as they're coming through the S's. The gap looks like it's come down a bit through the S's there. 4/10 is coming down more as here we go. DJ Snarf's going to have a great chance here. Oh, he missed a gear change there coming out of the S's. Other than that, I think he would have been right on him, but he missed a gear change as he was coming out of the corner onto the back straight, and that's really shot him in the foot there. He probably could have got him off into P7 otherwise, but he has to go again. He's looking all over JD at the moment. Can't seem to find a gap at this stage. F1 Stomper 18 seconds behind this man here, Bennett LCFC, who's got 2.5 laps left in this race until he will take the win. DJ Snarf right on the back of JD though, coming into Young Sal. JD a little bit wide, but DJ Snarf doesn't look like he's really able to capitalise at the moment. Here we come out onto the start finish now. ERS deployed here for DJ Snarf as we see JD's got nothing left, and DJ Snarf with DRS and ERS absolutely breezes past him there up into P7, and that was easy pickings there for DJ Snarf, and a couple of extra points there for him. 6 instead of 4 points there for DJ Snarf. He's a long way behind Mr. Veal. He's not going to get sick, but he's certainly managed to secure 7th with that move right there. Bennett's on his penultimate lap. He's got a lap and a half left to go in this race. The gap between F1 Stomper and Danny Din is just staying at around the same now. It's not really going up, it's not really going down. It's just hanging around at this stage. Danny Din's got about 4 seconds back to Ginaldi at this stage, and looking like he's set for that podium spot as it stands here in this one. JD within a second and a half of DJ Snarf at the moment. Ginaldi's got a 3-second time penalty here. Bennett onto the final lap. The gap between F1 Stomper and Danny Din's gone up a bit. F1 Stomper was a second and half a second quicker on the previous lap, so he's managed to gain a bit of time there over Danny Din. Gianaldi 4 seconds behind Danny Din. That battle's not really coming about here. Everything else seems like it's just a bit spread out at this stage. So let's jump with the race leader Bennett, who could have won the first race. He would have had second if he hadn't hit the wall and lost his front wing on the final lap at Spain earlier on. Knew he had to make amends here in this race at Brazil. He had the similar pace to A. Thompson. It looked like it was going to be A. Thompson and Bennett for the lead, and then Bennett had to come back to the pack after a few skirmishes at the start. He had a good battle with Mr. Morello and F1 Stomper, as well as Danny Din. The four of them were going at it for a few laps. Bennett, though, with the strategy on the medium tyres, was able to put the soft on for the final stint, and since then he's driven away, and Bennett up towards the line. He's going to take the checker flag here at Interlagos. It's going to be the race victory here tonight for the second race, the final race of the evening for the MRL Racing League. Bennett LCFC in absolute splendour tonight. Fantastic form, this man here. Bennett LCFC is your winner. F1 Stomper is going to come up towards the line, and it's going to be a second place finish here for F1 Stomper, as we've got double wave yellow flags through sector 3. Not quite sure why. F1 Stomper comes over to take second place here in this race. Danny Din will get second on the penalty, so F1 Stomper picked up 6 seconds worth of penalties, or possibly 9, because I think Danny Din had a couple of seconds worth. He had 3 seconds, so yeah. Danny Din gets second place, F1 Stomper third. Gianaldi comes home in 4th place. Ben Smith comes over to take P5 here in this one. Mr. Veal is going to come through Young Sal for the final time, and it's going to be a P6 for Mr. Veal as he climbs up the hill and comes around the final corner. P6 here, 8 championship points for Mr. Veal. DJ Snarf is going to finish this one in P7 as he comes up towards the line. There he goes, over the line. JD's going to come over in 8th place, and that is that. Bennett LCFC, though, this man here in the Aston Martin, taking a very, very impressive win indeed. Great night of action here on the Motive Racing channel for the MRL Racing League. We'll be back next week if they'll have us. I've enjoyed tonight quite a bit. Good little league. Not the most number of drivers, but I'm sure that will change. And very clean racing, quick drivers as well in here. So it's been a pleasure, guys. Hopefully you'll have me next time. I'm certainly up for it if you guys want me. But thanks everybody once again. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers everybody, take it easy. We'll see you later.